Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you're from, Grizzlies. Welcome to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Gisela K. And today we're going to court. Unfortunately, not yet for a trial, but as you may know, Vallow Daybell was finally arraigned. If you have not been following this case, I would highly recommend first checking out part 1 and 2 that I've done, because there we did a full timeline. Part 1 was like layer 1, figure out who's who, what's going on, just a shallow dive timeline, even though it was still a deep dive. And then part 2 was like, we're going in full on scuba gear, deep dive. So if you haven't checked that out, please give this video a thumbs up so that it alerts more Grizzlies that I am live now and they can come and join us. And if you are a replay watcher, thank you so much for watching my replays. I love all my replay watchers as well. Thank you so much also to everyone who's here right now. And to everyone who's sending me PayPals. You guys are so sweet. PayPals and coffees and signing up for Patreon and YouTube membership and all that. It's wonderful. So thank you so much. You're like, whew, watch twice. Joyce, I love your profile pic too. Yeah, watch twice. It's like, who's who? It's not even in the zoo. It's like in the circus, right? Who is who and what is going on? So I hope that you guys are up to speed. Have you done your homework? Do you know about this case? Are we okay with who's who and what's happening? We're looking today at specifically two people. First, we're going to look at Vallow Daybell finally being arraigned. Why do we say finally? Because she was arrested in March of 2020, and then she was found not competent to stand trial. So really, because her and Chad Daybell are going to be tried together, he's been waiting for her to be found competent. I don't care how long he waits. He could have waited 50 years for all I care, honestly. But he's been waiting, and now finally she was found competent to stand trial. So now only was she arraigned. So that is what happened. Yes. Yes, thank you so much. Welcome to all my mods. Welcome to all my members. If you see, if you're wondering why some people's names are highlighted in green and they've got cool little, unique little badges next to the name, those are YouTube members. Okay, so if you want to be a member, just click the join button below or the link in the description box, depending on what device you have. Okay, so I'm going to take this banner off for a second. This is 21 minutes. We're going to be doing some commentary of the arraignment because it's like a much anticipated event. I don't know if you guys saw it yesterday or not, but I've watched it and like, what? And as you know, I like to deep dive and I like a challenge, and the amount of content that I've had to go through relating to even this other person we're looking at today, which is Melanie Gibb. Should we do a pop quiz already? Who's Melanie Gibb? Who's that? Do you guys know? Let me quickly check what you're answering on the poll to see how many of you know. Okay, so 39%. How much do you know about Melanie Gibb, Laurie's friend? So there's two Melanies in this case, as if it wasn't confusing enough. One is Laurie Vallow's, she wants to be called Mrs. Daybell. Okay, but Laurie Vallow's niece, Melanie, formerly Boudreaux. Then she got divorced from Brandon Boudreaux and she got remarried to Ian Pulowski. So Melanie Pulowski is the niece. And then we've got Melanie Gibb, who I call the Gibster. But you guys say Melanie Fib and Fibster. She is Laurie's friend who was also part of this group. Remember that this was not an official cult. It's more like a small group of people influenced by Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell. A lot of people dying around those two, especially Laurie. A lot of people dying around her, and it's because of their belief systems and everything. So while they wanted to recruit 144,000 followers to join them, they thought that was their job, Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell. They were the ones in charge, apparently, to recruit 144,000 people into this following that would be based in Rexburg, Idaho. Who knew? In the end times. But they didn't have 144,000 or even 1,000. It seems like actually kind of a handful of people. So that's why we looked at who's who and what, because Melanie was there. She knew about their relationship while both were married. She actually introduced Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell. That's not like her fault that what kicked off with the two of them meeting became something so freaking weird and sinister. However, in part 1, I was saying she's a nice lady because I had watched the Dateline and East Idaho News seems like a collab. They seem to have worked together there. Episode on Melanie, and there she was very sweet. But now I've watched everything, every interview of hers, and I'm like, oh. So some people were getting snarky in the comments and being like, why do you call her a nice lady? She's not a nice lady. She did this and this, and I'm like, oh no. Like I've deep dived this person that now I'm like, oh, I see. Like she knew of their plans, but she was so caught up, shall we say. It's not an excuse. It's just she was so almost delusional in the beliefs that were being shared in this group that, you know, it was more like a spiritual experience from what I can see than actually thinking these people are murdering other people. Like they're literally murdering people. You know, she didn't quite seem to catch on in the moment, but now in hindsight, she seems to have. So we're going to analyze some of that. Okay, I've got some things to show. Of course, first the arraignment. 144K, no, doesn't have to be Jewish. It's from the book of Revelation in any Christian Bible. So it doesn't have to be Jewish. It was LDS Church, though. But this is not the LDS belief system that they follow. They started off in the LDS Church, and then they just made up their own beliefs as they went along. Convenient, right? It's just like, oh my word. With Lori Vallow Daybell's husband, number 4, Charles Vallow, was shot by her brother, Alex Cox, in the chest twice. Before that, if you listen to all the things that Melanie said, this group was like, he's got evil spirits in him. So they like cast one out and another one enters. They cast another one out. Ooh, another one enters. And then they just can't get rid of him. So they've got to get rid of Charles Vallow. You see, it just, they didn't follow their own rules even. Do you know what I mean? So they kind of made their own religion, you know? So yes. Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. And off we go with looking at this. I was saying 36% know very little, 28% seen snippets about her, 28% of you have seen all her interviews. Okay, and then I like the 8%. Who's Melanie Gibb? Cool. We're going to figure it out now. But first, we're going to watch Lori Vallow Daybell's arraignment with commentary. Okay. Good. So there she is, this time with curls and all spectacles. You know, I mean, she must have made some kind of deal to have. Okay, firstly, there's the Jolly Rancher Kool-Aid stuff that they use in jails to do like makeup, coffee that they mix up together. And we've spoken about this before, but this is not that. This is like full-on makeup, curled hair. For her mugshot, you could see her hair was freshly cut, colored, straightened. Okay, and so here she is, and she really cares about how she looks. This is not by chance. I mean, she really cares about how she looks. Melanie was saying that even like shortly after her arrest, she's like, oh my word. No, it wasn't Melanie. It wasn't Melanie. It was a woman who was sharing, or not sharing a cell, was next to her cell in the same jail said that day. She's like, okay, make me look pretty. I'm going to go to court, you know? And then when she came back, she's like, put on the TV because you're going to see me. Do I look amazing or what? She really cares about how she looks. Okay. Yeah, you like nice glasses. Okay, so she could do jailbird YouTube videos. I like jailbird YouTube videos. I mentioned some the other day. Gisela K, love that. Like seeing what they cook up and what they do and how resourceful they are. The things they make, I'm like, oh my word. So there she is, sitting with her attorneys. New attorney, I believe. Look at this guy. He's like, what? Of course, not all LDS people are bad. No one's saying that. These were not even following LDS principles by the end of all this. Okay, so whoa. We've got Kay. Pop quiz again. Have you guys been following? We've got Kay and Larry Woodcock sitting here. Tremendous empathy for them. Grizzlies, love these two. We send them so much love, so much strength. You will get justice for JJ and Tylee, okay? We believe it. And so you can see they're wearing the badges as well. So Kay on the left-hand side, this lady in the red shirt, is hubby number 4, Lori Vallow's hubby number 4, Charles Vallow's sister. It's actually JJ Vallow's grandmother. but for a time, herself and her husband, Larry, adopted JJ. They were very, very close to JJ. And because JJ was on the autism spectrum and they wanted him to have lots of attention, lots of care, they asked Charles Vallow, Kay's brother, and Lori, would you like to adopt him, like take care of him? They said, absolutely. So to them, it's absolutely gut-wrenching that Lori not only was in some way involved, allegedly, the trial's still coming. It's set for around October 19th for now. Not only did she allegedly have her brother shoot hubby number 4, Kay's brother, but she also allegedly was involved in the murder of JJ Vallow. So can you imagine Kay? She lost a grandson and a brother. It's hectic. So if you want to, you should check out some of the interviews and things with Kay and Larry Woodcock as well. They seem to be amazing people. There's a lot of people in this courtroom that let me know if you can identify as who, what. I believe Annie Cushing is also in the house. We'll see her in a moment. Hold on. This is true. Good point, Patty in pink. I believe this is Annie Cushing. And just so you guys can see quickly, here we go. That's Joe Ryan's sister. So here we go. Just to quick recap, quick one. We've got Laura in the middle. You can see Charles Vallow's on the right. JJ Vallow, he adopted JJ Vallow, but JJ's parents would be the son of Kay. And so Kay and Larry adopted him for a short time, and then Charles Vallow. But all the people in gray, deceased. Laura in the center of all of this. And then Melanie in the corner is the niece, not the one we're looking at today. Today we're looking at Lori's friend, Melanie Gibb. So here we've got Annie Cushing, Joe's sister. She's now in the courtroom. As soon as I go back to that court picture, you will see it. She thinks that it's possibly foul play, that her brother suddenly died of a heart attack in 2018, and Lori obviously came and scooped up all the money she could get for Social Security and things like that for Tylee. Terrible, terrible. So yes, that is there. And I just quickly want to show you one more so you can see it yourself. There's a family of Chad and Tammy. And here we go. On the right-hand side is who we're looking at today. Melanie Gibb introduced Lori to Chad Daybell, knew about their plans, and also believed in zombies. Okay, those are like limited bullet points, but that's a good overview. Okay, so that's what we're looking at today. So let's do this again. So now you can see that's hubby number 3's sister. She's also got a channel. She's actually got 2 channels. One is called, what? A Murderous Heart, I think. The other one is called Analytics. So yes, who's JJ's biological father? I don't know his name, but it's Kay's son, as far as I know. Okay, so here we go. I think I'm laughing because I think, put yourselves in Annie's shoes right now. It's like, oh my word, it's like, there's Lori. Like, I don't know, I could just recognize her face. If I was sitting in court, I would be probably behaving exactly like this. I'm like, oh my word. It's just like, I don't know what they're saying, but it's like probably just looking at Lori like, what? The Gibster, Fipster. There's the judge. There's Lori. Oh my word. Look at her.
Please be seated.
Trying to look sweet and defeated. Why is she smiling? She looks like she's aged quite a lot since she's been in prison, don't you think? We're allowed to be snarky over here, okay? I like this as well. You guys know when I peep over comments, this is what I look like too. Of course, Lorraine. Let me put this on. LDS is not a cult. I just want to clear that up. They started in the LDS church and took a few practices and went nuts, way, way off. They went so way off, they weren't even following any version of any scripture, of any book at all. They made up stuff. I mean, the LDS does not believe in freaking zombies, okay? And they do not murder people, so no. Okay, carrying on. Look how he peeps over. You guys know when you put comments up, I just peep over. Look at him over here. I always look at the computers they have too. The Lenovo. It's either Lenovo or Dell, right? That's what I see in court. Do you think Lori knows it's over for her? I don't think so. And she probably thinks she's going to some or other realm. She's probably excited. I don't know. This is not how I watch movies. I actually get annoyed when people talk throughout movies. But I do have to talk because that's how YouTube works. And I want to talk.
All right, who's covering this arraignment on behalf of the state today?
I will be, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Blake. Mr. Archibald, you are for the defense, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Archibald. This is the time scheduled for an arraignment. This is case CR 22-21-1624, State versus Lori Noreen Vallow. Mr. Archibald and Mr. Thomas represent the defendant. Mr. Archibald, how does your client prefer that I refer to her through this hearing?
And this is horrible.
Mrs. Daybell.
Very well, Miss.
Stopping with the snark. Stopping for a snark quick. Mrs. Daybell, please refer to me as Mrs. Daybell. Like, seriously. Lori Vallow Daybell. I know she married Chad Daybell. Yes, she did in Hawaii. But she's like, you will refer to me as Mrs. Daybell. Oh, no. This is just horrible. I wonder how he feels about it. Not that I care. Also, if you notice that behind Lori here and her look at this attorney's face. Behind Lori and her attorney is one of the detectives, and he's wearing a bracelet that says "Justice for JJ and Tylee," which I think is very, very sweet.
Mrs. Daybell is represented by John Thomas and Jim Archibald for this hearing today and have been appointed on the case. The state is represented by Lindsay Blake and Tanya Rawlings, also here for the prosecution. In this case, Mrs. Daybell, my name is Judge Boyd.
Now listen, cameraman, why are we zooming into Angel Soft? Ultra professional, not sponsored. Tissues. Or you're trying to see the documents. Is that what we're supposed to look at? Oh, things are very much underlined. He's like, yeah, get a snapshot of that.
I'm the district judge presiding over this case in Fremont County, and I've been assigned to preside over the case throughout its duration. In a few minutes, I will arraign you on the criminal charges that have been filed against you by the state of Idaho. Before doing that, I'll explain what will happen at this hearing and then advise you of your constitutional rights and plea options. If at any time you need to talk to your attorneys in confidence, please advise the court or them. They'll notify me and we can arrange for you to have a discussion with them off the record and in confidence if you request that. This case began with the filing of an indictment that was issued by a grand jury on May 25th, 2021. That indictment sets forth the criminal charges the state's filed against you. The indictment is not evidence, rather it lists the criminal charges that will be prosecuted by the state of Idaho. Mr. Archibald, have you received a copy of the indictment and reviewed that with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. In a moment then, Mrs. Daybell, I'll advise you of the charges pending against you and explain the penalties associated with those charges. Mrs. Daybell, the purpose of an arraignment is to have you enter a plea to the charges contained in that information. Therefore, at the end of the arraignment, I'll ask you how you intend to plea. In that regard, you would have three options. Your first option is that you may enter a plea of not guilty. If you elect to plead not guilty, a jury trial and a pretrial conference will be scheduled in your case. Also, by pleading not guilty, you will maintain all of your constitutional rights in this case.
JJ and Tylee.
And those rights were previously explained to you on May 26, 2021 at your initial appearance before the magistrate. I'll note that on that date in the record of the case is a form entitled the Notification of Rights that you had signed and initialed. Do you recall receiving that form and signing it?
We've got an OG in the house over here. Remember those days when we were only 18 of us here?
Very well. Among those rights, and I'll go back through several of those, you do have the right to be presumed innocent in this case. The presumption of innocence is a real and important right which lies at the foundation of our criminal justice system. Therefore, unless you either plead guilty at a later date or the state proves the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt at trial, the presumption of innocence remains in your case. You also have the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of your peers, as well as the right to...
You guys are all talking about a movie being made. A movie's already been made. It's rated 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb, and it's called Doomsday Mom: The Lori Vallow Story, directed by Bradley Walsh. So, yes, yeah, movie's already been made.
See, hear, confront, and have your attorney question all witnesses who may be called to testify against you. During the pendency of your case and at trial, you also have the right to be represented by an attorney. As you are in custody, you have the right to communicate with your attorney at all stages of your case, and reasonable access to communication with your attorneys will be provided. At your trial, you will have the right to present evidence in your defense and the right to subpoena power of the court to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf. Finally, if you plead not guilty, you will retain the right to remain silent and exercise the privilege against compulsory self-incrimination. This means that you cannot be required to testify against yourself. However, you may voluntarily take the witness stand if you so choose, but you cannot be compelled to do so. If you decide not to testify on your own behalf, the prosecuting attorney can make no remarks about your failure to testify and cannot imply to the jury that exercising your constitutional right to remain silent is any indication of your guilt. Your next option and second would be to stand silent and enter no plea at all. If you decide to do that, the court would enter a plea of not guilty for you, and you would continue to maintain all of the rights I just explained to you.
She even has
The third
mascara
option
on.
is that you may plead guilty to any or all of the charges. However, it's important that you understand if you were to plead guilty, you would automatically waive rights, including rights under the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments to the Constitution, as well as
Yes.
similar rights contained in the Idaho Constitution. If you were to enter a guilty plea, then I would go through in more detail of those rights you'd be waiving before that time if I was advised that's how you intended to plead today. It's very important that you understand all of these rights and options that I just explained to you. And so before I go further with your arraignment, do you have any questions regarding what I've just explained for me or anything you want to ask your attorney? Very well.
Shall we mimic that? No, Your Honor. Oh, now we're a little kitten. Okay, then.
Mrs. Daybell, you're brought before this court to answer for the indictment that was filed in this case, which alleges that you have committed serious crimes in that 6 felony charges have been filed in the grand jury's indictment. Before I allow you to respond by entering a plea to the charges in the indictment, I'll ask you a few questions. First,
Everyone was worried she's going to say that she doesn't understand what she's facing here, because then it would go back to being incompetent, or not competent to stand trial. And wait, someone is asking me something here. Quickly. How old is she? Hard 48. She's a hard 48.
First of all, did you have any questions about your right and plea options in this case? All right, and have you seen a copy of that indictment and had it provided to you? And have you had enough time to review that indictment with your attorneys? Very well. At this time, I will review the charges contained in the indictment and the possible penalties for those charges. The indictment charges under count 1, the charge of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception, felony charges under Idaho Code 18-1701, 18-4003A, 18-2403-1, 18-2403-4A, and 18-2407-1B3.
Your Honor,
Yes,
we waive the reading if a summary is acceptable.
very well. Mr. Archibald, if you read that, I'm
It's like, we don't even want you to read everything. Just it's okay. Just skim over it. We're good.
fine with that. So that is the count contained in, the charges contained in count 1, and that relates to a allegation of a conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree of Tylee Ryan and to commit grand theft by deception.
Watch your
I'll
face.
advise you, Mrs. Daybell, that the possible penalties associated with those charges are the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder is punishable by death or imprisonment by life, imprisonment for life. And if the death penalty is not sought, a mandatory life sentence with a minimum period of confinement being 10 years. That's the possible penalty on the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder charge. You understand that charge and the possible penalty there. Very well. The second part of that count is grand theft by deception. That's a felony that's punishable by a fine not exceeding $5,000 or by imprisonment in the state prison for not.
I'm interrupting again. If you want to watch the whole thing, go watch it on the news. This is the Gisela K show, and I talk a lot in between. Okay, so what did I want to say? I don't even know what I want to say. If you don't know the charges she's facing, I read through the entire 9-page. It's not an entire 9-page, but it took a time. It took about 25 minutes or so to read through the entire indictment, which I believe was in part 2. So go check that out if you missed it. But yes, I just can't believe that when they're reading out these charges, she's literally like got that droopy mouth, and she doesn't even look sad. She doesn't look anything. She's just like, okay. She just looks like she feels a little sorry for herself. What do you think? Let me know what you think.
Less than 1 year or more than 14 years,
Exactly
and which
right.
may also contain a restitution requirement. You understand that charge of felony grand theft?
Yes.
All right, the next count of the indictment alleges a charge of first-degree murder, and that is in relation to Tylee Ryan. That charge of first-degree murder carries, again, the penalty of being punishable by death or imprisonment for life, and if the death penalty is not sought, a mandatory life sentence with minimum period of confinement being 10 years. You understand the charge and the possible penalties in count 2?
I think all she hears is 10 years and she's got hope. That's just the feeling I get from looking at her. Anyway, I also don't think that she did these types of highlights and this type of makeup, like literally just from prison resources. I'm sure she made some sort of a deal somewhere to be able to even say, okay, fine. You know, I'll behave. If you I just want to look pretty. I don't know. I just get that vibe from her. Remember that here, it's in Idaho, they cannot have an insanity plea. But there's the death sentence, so her and Chad Daybell might be actually facing the death penalty, which is quite hectic. So yeah, the trial is going to be possibly, we'll see it now, don't want to do a spoiler, but around October, so got to put all this in our calendar, huh? We needed a thriller, we got a thriller. I know everyone's been waiting forever. I know I've only just deep dived the case. I haven't even had a YouTube channel for a year yet. Can you believe it? It feels like we've been here forever. But man, this case is like, I kind of followed it just a little bit, not a deep dive. It was like a shallow dive. And I'm like, what? Man, once you get into it, you're like, oh my word, this has been such a long wait to finally see this happen and to wait for that trial. I can't wait.
Of the indictment.
October-ish.
Okay. Count 3 is a charge of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception. That is an allegation relating to an alleged murder in the first degree of Joshua Jackson Vallow, hereinafter referred to as J.J. Vallow. Again, that conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, I've already indicated what the penalty is. It's the same as in the prior count. Do you have any questions about that charge or the possible penalty? Very well. The next part.
I feel so bad for them. I mean, it's just absolutely terrible. Welcome, Robin, to membership. Oh my word. So yeah, trigger warning. This content is for adults only. It might be upsetting for some viewers. Just know that, okay? Sure. Okay, carry on.
Part is grand theft by deception. And again, that is punishable by a fine not exceeding $5,000 and imprisonment in the state prison, not less than 1 year, no more than 14 years, and may contain a restitution requirement. Do you understand that part of count 3 as it relates to the charge of grand theft? All right.
Oh my word. She's just like, yes. Oh, no. She always had kind of a little bit of a high-pitched voice. However, we'll hear a call from her later where her friend Melanie, because remember, that's actually what we're also going to be analyzing. This will be a little bit of a long-ish overtime live stream. Yes, when we look at that, you'll hear how snarky she can get. So this is just like, yes. And someone was saying there, does she think she's 11 with those glasses? I mean, it is. She's kind of got this like weird, I don't know, vibe where she's trying to look really, really innocent, What is up? How's it haunting? Awesome podcast, Queen of True Crime. Thank you so much. Still waiting for my crown. I need that. Where is it?
Next count relating to you in the indictment is count 4 of the indictment, which is a count of first-degree murder. As it relates to J.J. Vallow, under that count, again, the charge is punishable by death or imprisonment for life, and if the death penalty is not sought, a mandatory
Go
life
to the
sentence
Bronzos.
with a minimum period of confinement being 10 years. Do you understand the charge of count 4 and the possible penalties?
Yes.
Very well. Count 5 then is the next count alleged in the indictment relating to you. Count 5 is conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. That is in relation to Tammy Daybell. The conspiracy to commit first-degree murder charge in that count, again, carries a penalty of, it may be punishable by death or imprisonment for life. And if the death penalty is not...
Ooh, they've been waiting for this day for the longest time. This is like tears of absolute grief, pain, but also just like a little bit of joy. That clapping you saw in my intro, he was like, that was from a little while ago, but still, every time that they progress in this case, he's just like, yes. And I'm saying Larry Woodcock over here, and K, remember, Charles Vallow, hubby number 4, who was shot by Alex Cox. It's his sister, Kay, over here, and her husband, Larry Woodcock. And they're just looking at the horror of this. And of course, Laurie's not looking at them. She got her back to them, but she didn't even look at them. You know, initially, when she was in court, before she was found not competent to stand trial, her son said that all he was doing was looking at her eldest son, Colby, just to make eye contact with her, and she wouldn't look at him. He just said he couldn't have felt worse, like that she's so dismissive of him as well. Kathleen says, crown. Do you know someone? If you guys want to actually buy me a crown, you got to go and look at Kathleen's shop. Okay, I want one of Kathleen's crowns. She makes the most beautiful crowns, okay? One day I will have one of them.
Sought a mandatory life sentence with a minimum period of confinement of at least 10 years. Do you understand the charge contained in count 5 and the possible penalties?
Listen to my word. It's
All
like,
right,
yes.
Finally, I believe the last count in the indictment filed against you is count 7. That is a count of grand theft. Grand theft is a felony in Idaho that's punishable, again, by a fine not exceeding $5,000, by imprisonment in the state prison not less than 1 year, no more than 14 years, and also may contain a restitution requirement. So do you understand the charge filed in count 7 and the possible penalties?
Yes.
Very well. That summarizes then the charges contained in the indictment. At this time then, I'm going to go back through the charges and ask how you plead as to each charge. Before I take that plea then, do you have any questions for the court or anything you need to discuss with your attorneys?
Your Honor, she intends to remain silent. I'll ask the court to enter and not guilty, please.
Oh, so she can only say, yes, yes, and then remain silent. Your Honor, she intends to remain silent from this point. Why? Speak up. Come on, you had so much to say before. My word. Will the real Laurie please stand up? I know, right? How can those attorneys look so bored? They really do. They really look, so bored. That's a good way to put it. I don't even know. What the heck?
For her and set the matter for trial.
Very well, Mr. Archibald, then that is her right to remain silent. The court, upon entry of that, will enter a not guilty plea as it relates to all of the counts alleged in the indictment against the defendant. That is on count 1. A not guilty plea will be entered on count 2. A not guilty plea is entered on count 3.
Not guilty,
A not guilty plea is to be entered on count 4. The not guilty plea will be entered and on count 5.
It just feels like they're always wasting everybody's time and money. You know what I mean? Because when this answer is probably never, will anyone say, you know what? Yep, I did it. I'm pleading guilty. Let's just get this over with. But no. They always, of course, got to plead not guilty. Oh, my word.
And on count 7.
I think they are public defenders, yes.
Having entered those not guilty pleas, then, Mr. Archibald, we'd like to discuss the setting of trial in this case. As I'm sure you're aware, there's a companion case that is already scheduled for a trial to start on January 9th. The court's made some previous rulings that apply to this case and were set in that case as well, indicating that these cases would be tried in a joint trial. in order
Joint
to
trial.
have your client appear for that trial date, that would require her to go outside of the time frame for speedy trial.
Look at this
Have
guy.
you discussed with your client her speedy trial rights and whether she intends to waive those to have the trial as now set, or what's your plan on the trial setting?
Yes, Your Honor, we have discussed it. She does not intend to waive her right to a speedy trial.
Anyone else confused by that? She does not intend to waive her right to a speedy trial. I've deliberated with that all day. I'm like, so she does not intend to waive her trial to a speedy trial. What does that exactly mean? So it means that, I have to look at it again. I'm always like, it means, I'll get back to you. Hold on. I want to explain it nicely.
All right, I'll note that the defendant's in custody. There is a statutory requirement under Idaho Code 193501 subsection 1, which does require that the matter be set for trial within 6 months of speedy.
So if she does not waive a right to a speedy trial, it means she wants a speedy trial. Yes.
Trial is not waived. That would give
Yes.
a deadline of approximately October 19th for the trial to commence in this case. Counsel, with that in mind, in a prior trial setting already slated in the companion case for January, I'm going to consult with counsel and discuss the setting of a trial in this case, making sure we can all confirm with our calendars when that can take place. I'll ask the state at this time, Ms. Blake, there's been a request in the other companion case for a trial of a duration of 10 weeks. And if this matters to go forward with both defendants now, is the 10-week trial setting that has previously been scheduled sufficient time to have the case tried?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would be asking for 10 weeks.
Okay.
10 weeks.
Mr.
Imagine that.
Archibald,
Sure.
having consulted with your client, reviewed the evidence, I think at this point, at least to some extent, as I note the case has been stayed, but you've been appointed for some time. Do you believe
October 19th, yes, that's the anniversary of Tammy's death. That would be Chad Daybell's wife. I mean, one of you was saying that she will go to trial before him, but I mean, they're going to be tried together, so wouldn't it be at the same time? Interesting.
that that 10-week trial setting is a sufficient amount of time?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Crazy hectic.
All right. Well, with that in mind then, counsel, I'm going to review calendaring and we'll get a trial set within the speedy timeframe limits if your client's not going to waive that right. So we'll look at a setting that would likely occur in mid-October
Yes.
trial in this case. Does the state have anything they want to add or be heard on in terms of the trial setting, Ms. Blake?
Yeah, the trials are together. So I'm sure Chad is happy about this, that she's like, yep, speedy trial time, so that they could go in October. Look at
Your Honor,
Larry
I
and Kay.
think with the request to have the trial held within 180 days, it sounds like this court is going to look at the court's calendar. I think the state's thought process would be, we'll look at our calendar as well. Right now, there is a court order indicating these matters will be tried together. And there had been a severance motion, which was denied in the companion case at this point.
Yes.
But we will look at the state's calendar and request the opportunity to provide briefing to the court if the court would allow that with regard to whether or not a separate trial should be set.
Okay, we will take that under advisement. It's a decision that obviously needs to be set.
Okay, we're almost done with this, and then we'll continue on with Melanie Gibb to look at that. Just join. Is there a breakdown of this case? Yes, there is. There's an absolute deep dive breakdown. By the end of that, you might have to watch it twice because it's a lot of characters, a lot of people, a lot of who, what, where, when, how. But I've done the deepest dive for you and made presentations for you so that you can literally watch part 1 and 2. It's in the link in the description box below, and then just get all up to speed on the case. That was my goal in covering the case, so that after everything, all this content shared for years, like literally 2 years waiting for this, right? Now you could just watch the full timeline so that you know what happened, when, how, who, timeline, who's who, what. So we already, this is pre-trial prep. Okay, we're prepping ourselves for trial so that when the trial actually starts happening, are we going to know exactly what happened and what they're facing?
Quickly, the trial setting with a limited time frame for us to make these arrangements for trial. And so I will contact counsel about calendaring, which we can do off the record, and confirm dates for the commencement of a trial. The presumption being at this time that it would be a single trial together with both this case and the companion case of State versus Chad Guy Davis.
So they're going to be tried together. RA said, are you sure they're together? I think Chad's is later. Remember that Chad, sorry for looking at the wall now. Chad he had his preliminary hearing, and then it was found, of course, that Lori is not competent to stand trial. So she had to go to a mental institute to get therapy, I guess, and to work with people so she could be found competent eventually. I mean, it's not always guaranteed either, but now she's been arraigned. Now she's been found competent. Now she wants a speedy trial. So I think they're going to be tried together, and they say October. Okay. Also, she cannot pull the insanity card because it's not allowed in Idaho. Thankfully.
Daybell KCR 22, 21, 16, 23 to be tried together. But if the state believes that's not the case based on the previous rulings, I'll consider that. However, we'll set out a scheduling order, and I'll advise counsel that we'll need to have these dates sorted out by the end of this week, because I'd like to get the matter on the calendar so that we can start making arrangements for trial.
And Your Honor, if I may just clarify, it is the state's belief that they are to be tried together. I think when I was referring to the briefing, it was if we were going to, for any reason, set a separate trial date sooner than that January date, then we just request an opportunity to brief that issue. But it is the state's belief these are one matter for trial, just to clarify that.
Okay, understood. And also, given the nature of that proceedings here, I think we have to have Mr. Pryor's input, as well as potentially this will affect his currently scheduled case for trial. So that will, I believe, conclude what we need to cover today on the hearing for the arraignment. And I'll get together with counsel to determine trial dates, and then we'll get a scheduling order out once that's been confirmed. Mr. Archibald, is there anything else we need to bring up for the defense today?
No, thank you.
All right. Ms. Blake, anything further for the state?
Your Honor, I think the only other thing the state had to mention today was the state has filed a motion for a joint status conference in the two case numbers. It sounds like we may be having one anyway when we're talking about setting trial dates. So there may be no need to address that. We were just going to request a date be set on that matter since counsel was here.
Okay. I'll reach out to counsel and see if we can cover those issues you wanted to cover in a status conference when we do our scheduling. And with that in mind, then, that will conclude the hearing today. I appreciate everyone's complying with the court's order as it relates to maintaining demeanor in the courtroom this afternoon, and we'll be in recess.
Very nice, everyone.
All rise.
Yes, get up, Lori. Off she goes. Off she goes. There she goes, ladies and gentlemen. Going for it. Going for it. Studying the body language. Okay. So that was Lori Vallow Daybell's arraignment. Now you've seen it. They're going to be tried together. That's also why Chad's attorneys are there. So we're gonna be looking out for it in around October. They'll make it official still when the exact date will be, but they said tentatively October 19th. Okay, so that is on East Idaho News. They've done absolutely brilliant coverage of this case. Nate Eaton, shout out. Really good. Okay, now we're looking at the friend, right? Melanie Gibb. Okay, back to your prison garb. Yeah, she was moving quite fast. Didn't look back at all. Yep. Keep growling, Gisela. That's why we're here. Was that Chad and Lori? Which Melanie? Okay, so this is the Melanie we're going to be looking at. The Melanie on the right. We're not looking at the niece. We're looking at the friend, Melanie Gibb. Okay, so she... Hold on. Again, I've written out so many notes. Thank you to everyone also who sent me specifically coffees or PayPals for some gel pens. I haven't bought new ones. I've still got these two. As soon as these two are done, I'm going to go out to buy a whole stash because you guys are so sweet. Maybe I'll go sooner because I love buying pens. Okay, wait. So I've got, again, all my notes. Just hold on 1 second. I want to just quickly go. You can hear me flapping pages. Yeah, so Melanie Gibb met Chad in July of 2017, and she met Lori in October of 2018. When she says met Chad, I mean, it's interesting to watch all the interviews. Sometimes she says things that are just a little different to each other, right? And sometimes her demeanor is completely different, which I find interesting, just to watch how well she can manipulate a room, if I could say it like that. And basically, she's in the LDS church. That's how she met both Chad and Lori, because Chad had written all these books, right? And she was reading his books, and she went to some event where Chad was, but she wasn't like friends with him at first, from what I gather from everything she said. It's when she met Lori in the church building that the two of them went to an event, and then Lori and Chad met each other, and whoa, then it became like a whole little group. I swear that was a mosquito that just bit my neck. So hello, summer. What the heck? Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at now. So what I've done is, because it's hours and hours and hours of content, and you should see me watch this stuff. I mean, this one that I'm showing you now is from Law and Crime Network. It is Melanie Gibbs police interview. Okay. Hold on. I just want to say exactly when this one was from. Oh, I've got this as well. I wish I could remember who sent this to me. One of the Grizzly sent this to me. It says very important things. It's so cute. Very important things. Yes. And so she had one interview with the police, with the Arizona PD, on August 19th, 2020. Each of these things is like 2 hours long, and I stop every 5 to 10 seconds, and then I'm like, wait, what, and then freaking cross-reference. So yes, we're going to look. I've made timestamps for today because we can't go through everything. We'll literally be here for 12 hours. And then April 30th, 2021, she spoke to the Rexburg PD. So 2 interviews. She's also been interviewed telephonically by the FBI twice. And we're going to look at one of her recorded calls, which I've timestamped too. And she's also taken the stand when Chad Daybell had his hearing. So lots going on. I think Melanie was brainwashed. That's a good way to put it. That's what it seems like. You know? It does seem like it. Like she really was brainwashed. That's a good way to put it, yes. I'm from South Africa, living in the Netherlands, Don. Yeah. Okay. I get so nervous when people say Melanie Gibb is innocent or brainwashed. No, people know. Okay. I'm glad you said that as well. So me too. You know why? Because she's actually an excellent manipulator. If you watch all of her police interviews and then her interview with East Idaho News and Dateline, oh, she knows how to work a room. She knows. You wouldn't, if you are able to comment this, you're not blocked. No. Okay. I think she was brainwashed to an extent. I think she was fully immersed in what was being told to her, right? But it's still everyone's choice, what they believe. No, Melanie's deep in this too. I mean, even the, I'm going to shut up now and show you this, but even the indictment that I read, I mean, they do say like conspiring with others, so that, I don't know, but no one else has been charged. It's Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell, and Alex Cox is dead. So there's that. I'm in the Netherlands. Nope, never been to New Zealand in my life. Hi, New Zealand. Okay, so first, because everything's color-coded here, I'm first going to show you the April 30th, 2021 one, even though it's a little out of sync. It's the first one I've written all these notes for, so hold on. Yes, this one. Okay, so first we're going to look at my notes real quick. Hold on. There. That's what we're looking at. So Melanie Gibb, she tells police that she never looks what people are saying about her. I just wrote that down because I find it interesting because in her East Idaho News and Dateline interview, she said she's so worried about what people say about her. Okay, so she was like hiding for months because Nate Eaton was like, I've been trying for 5 months to like get hold of you, to talk to you. And she's like, I was in hiding. I just don't want to know what people say about me. But she does know, she's aware of it, right? So she lurks at what people are saying about her, but she told police she never looks at what people are saying about her. She says this was something that I was like, really? She said the case and the associated gossip are an addiction. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah, no one else is charged yet. I know. Watching paint dry. So let's see. I want to show you just how she manipulates a room first. Look at this. Just so you see what I mean. So this was actually a second police interview. She's coming in now. Gisela to lead the prosecution team. You would nail it. I would like that, actually. Be like, listen. Yeah, she's guilty of not having discernment. Some people have said worse things. They say she's brainless and spineless. I mean, that's another way to put it. My word. Oh, it's my pleasure. Hello, could you maybe hurry up, lady? Sorry, let's keep it going. Go for it.
Yes, he was. I get to work with.
Now, remember, this is her second interview, 30th of the 4th, 2021. Second police interview, another 2 hours. The first one was August 19th, 2020. Right, and this is on the bottom there, April 2021. Yes, okay. And what's interesting is just the amount of small talk and building rapport. She's excellent at rapport building. You know what I mean? I understand she believes in all sorts of demons. Oh, demons, zombies, casting out dragons. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
Oh, good for you.
So we never wear socks.
Odd.
So
Does he not have sweaty feet?
No. He wears those little tiny, what are they called? They're not anklets.
Like this?
Like the no-shows.
Oh, the no-shows.
Yeah.
No, see, those creep down to me.
Yeah.
And then they go under and they make your feet uncomfortable.
What's weird about is when he sits down, his pants go up, you see the shoes, and there's like that much, because he's so tall, long-legged. Nothing, no socks.
So we always tease him about, man, are you wearing socks today?
It's almost girly-like, because girls
Yeah.
have more ankle
Or did you cut the little ball off the back of your socks?
I know
I
they're
bet
all
you guys
making
are
small
fun.
talk.
Oh,
How are you?
I know they're all making small talk, but she's like, you guys are so fun. She's a flirt and a half, okay? This is some high-level flirting. Also, for anyone over here, please don't put spoilers in to say, she's going to say this and this and this over there. We're getting to it, okay? I didn't watch all this for many hours for people to spoil it in the chat, okay? We're getting to it. But like, this lady, watch the high-level flirting that goes on, the building rapport with the boys, you know what I mean? And when I watched her on the stand, she testified in Chad Daybell's hearing a year ago. Whoa, she could really handle that. Lawyer was like, he was brutal, he was savage, and she really handled it well. So, you know, she's very resilient. I think highly manipulative, skilled at rapport building. But I mean, of course, the cops, they know what they're doing. So look.
I'm
Been a long
good.
time.
No, I'm good. I'm married now.
That's what I understand, good.
Awesome, congrats.
And we still are married, according to a gossip that's out there that we're separated. That's the gossip.
You know, I may have saw
I thought you doing. Look at the gossip, lady.
that somewhere.
And I'm like, who comes up with this
Caught
stuff?
me by surprise a little bit.
And I was like, they got the gossip. You know what I heard? I don't follow me. I don't look up any information about what people say
Interesting.
about me. Don't want to know. Don't care. Anyway, but somebody told me.
But I don't watch any of the gossip. But someone told me just the other day that they think that I'm not married anymore. Oh my word. She's just given the situation. JJ Tiley murdered. Charles Vallow allegedly murdered. It was claimed as self-defense at the time from Alex Cox, but you know. And Tammy Daybell, and this is like a friend of Lori. She was in the group. She knew what was going on. And you're just so like happy-go-lucky and just building rapport. It's just like, what?
Did you know that you and David were married on 12/12? That's 12 times 12 is 144. Like the 144,000 I went.
Okay, I wish we could go through all of this and just sit here for many, many hours. I would stop every 5 to 10 seconds and just snark it right up to say something useful. Because over here she's like, did you know that people were saying 12 to 12 is 144? And now she's like, oh my word. But lady, why are you doing this? Because you literally believed in zombies. You literally believed that Lori and Chad were getting information from beyond the veil. She went so astray in this belief system, but now she's laughing at someone who says 12 times 12 is 144. My word.
Oh my God.
I was like, I never ever put that together. And then it was Alex's death, didn't even know.
See, we could go through this all night. I never ever put that together. Lady, you don't put anything together, apparently. Like, literally didn't even know that these people around you, well, she probably did know. That's why people are like, oh my word. You know, she knew what was going on. She knew when JJ and Tylee were no longer on the planet. Mm-hmm. And why and who and what. She literally referred to Alex, Lori's brother, and his wife Zulema as the murderers down the road. The murderers down the road. I listened to every word. I would sit here and look at every sentence with you guys, but it's just not possible time-wise. Anyway.
No, it was his death. Didn't even know.
Look at
Because I
it.
didn't
On
memorize
the
the
12th of
dates.
December?
That's what they said. And I was like,
Yeah, he did that.
I'm glad that they know more than I know about myself. And I was
It's
like,
crazy. It's crazy.
people,
yeah.
you guys are like,
She's bringing the
why
drama.
why do you spend your life looking at another?
Because you were involved in a group who murdered children and other people? That's why people are looking at you through a freaking microscope. Oh my word. Like, this lady's actually making me angry now.
Person and gossiping about them.
She's
That is
bringing the
so
drama
bad.
into the room right off the bat. Isn't that
Some
crazy?
people, and really with this case, they're so involved with it, is like, it seems like it's just consumed their
It's
lives.
consuming. It's
And
addiction.
they're always posting, they're always looking.
It's consuming. It's addiction. No, it's actually children and others being murdered. Tammy Daybell, JJ Vallow, Tylee Ryan, possibly, we know, but I've got to say allegedly and all that, Charles Vallow, maybe even Joe Ryan. And she's like, it's addiction. This is not addiction like YouTube drama or, ooh, it's like Netflix. Lady, we're talking about a freaking cult in the making where people died and they might face the death penalty. Okay?
I was kind of these little things.
Oh, it's so gross. I don't know what else they're saying, and I don't want to know. So I always tell people, don't tell me. Don't want to know what they're saying. Just leave me alone. So I don't know too much more. Isn't that great?
So Dave's still up there in Utah?
Yeah, and he said that if he wanted to, he was going to come down and help me with some moving. I decided, no, I'm keeping my stuff in storage for another month.
Okay.
So he says, if you need him,
Okay, so now my notes quickly. Then we're going to go to the timestamp. My goodness. So Melanie, in all the interviews I've watched of her, except the one with East Idaho News with Nate Eaton, she says, that everything is odd about this case, about Lori and Chad. Everything's so odd, but she's so normal. She says it so much. And you know how many times she says, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like zombies and stuff, you know what I mean? And they're like literally like, no, Melanie, we don't know what you mean. Like, no, we don't know what you mean. Okay. And she's like they don't say that, but they just look at her like, sure. And she's like, okay, so how you get graded and how you get rated, they were like rating darkness and lightness. And she's like, you know what I mean? They're like, nope, we don't know what you mean. Anyway, so she keeps on saying everything's odd, but she's so normal. Her teachings are normal, but everything else is odd. I'll show you an example of that in a moment. She says that this dude called Jason introduced her to Lori. Melanie herself, this is a red flag, okay? Taught a prepper class. So these are kind of like doomsday preppers. That's not what she called her class. When they asked in court, when she was on the stand, when it was Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing a year ago, they asked what kind of, his lawyers were like, oh, really? What kind of classes? What do you mean? What are you prepping for? And she's like, if there's no like electricity or water, and it's just like surviving in the wild, but like for what? It's according to end times, doomsday. apocalyptic stuff. She taught that class. No wonder she read Chad Daybell's books. No wonder she introduced Lori and Chad, because she's like, this guy's amazing. Look at this guy. Let me introduce you. Oh my word. She's into it. And now she's making as if, sure, these people that believe in all this stuff is crazy. But she was all in it. She was all in it. Anyway, so she taught a class usually on Friday afternoons, or I'm not sure if it's afternoons or evening, but Fridays. She taught a class, and Lori apparently attended this class. She says, Lori was just like so excited to meet her. It's just like a room full of narcissists, this whole case. It's just like Chad, Lori, this one. Each one just got an ego bigger than the other, you know? Lori was so excited to meet her and was name dropping. So she says she started dropping, I goes like name dropping podcasts that she'd listened to and like author names and things. We know how it goes. It's like some little fan club type thing. Anyway, then she says, I think that Lori was like mirroring me. Mirroring me. She's like, oh my word, I just noticed that's what she was doing. She was like mirroring me. Yes, I'm sure. But then Melanie says, yes, her teachings and experiences were normal and good, and that there was nothing odd about it. So now we'll go to this first timestamp, which is around here. There's so much. I'm telling you, I told you I could go through all of this, but we just don't have the time. Okay, we'll be here forever. It'll take so long. Okay, so here, let's just go back a little bit and just start here.
Here's Melly's information. So she meets me and she hears me talking a little bit because I'm doing something for a steak event. It was really normal and good, and
normal and good.
Like natural preparedness kind of things. Something that we all can learn and enjoy. Anyway, afterwards, she's in the back with Melanie, and then I came out, and then she came out, and Melanie was still in there because there was other classes going on, and she was just so excited to meet me, and she was like, She's talking about people she knew, like Mike Stroud, or not knew, but knew of.
Name dropping.
Podcast and Julie Rowe and her change of heart. And I said, well, I've been changed in Christ. And my experience is a normal experience that somebody would have. But she was like mirroring me. And I was like, I think she's mirroring.
You see? I'm glad you could see that. So what, timestamp this. You can literally see, oh my word, I think she's like mirroring me. But this is someone who claims to not know what manipulation is. She says she's never manipulated in her life. She'll say it now. Doesn't have a clue what that is. But yet she can identify that Lori's like mirroring her. Brenda Briggs says, reporting live from my sofa, reading through one of Chad's books. It is terrible. Maybe 5th grade level. And this guy makes you laugh out loud the way he reads it. Oh my word.
Mirroring me because I didn't know that then. I didn't know her. So I would have no way of knowing. But anyway, she was like, oh, I've been changed by Christ. And I said, well, I have too. And it wasn't a more significant way than maybe what I experienced at church. It was a beautiful experience that I had. And so, but there was nothing odd about it. It was just beautiful, Mm-hmm. And so she said that she had the same, and she was super excited. And then she said, well, I said, you must have been through a really, a lot of challenges in your life to be able to have these experiences. She goes, well, she says, I've had some special experiences with the Lord in the temple. And she might have said Mormon at the time too. She might have. I can't remember if that was the next time I saw her or not. And I was like, wow, what have you been through? And she's like, well, my kid was raped by their father. And
so you have to say the R word on my channel, lady. You're going to get this video. Super YouTube bots are like, what? Also, please, everyone, be respectful in the chat. The LDS is not a cult. It's not a whatever was said there. We have people watching that are in the LDS church, okay? We respect everyone over here. This is about this case. And it wasn't even LDS. What Lori and Chad were doing, they started off like that, but then they branched off on their own and formed their own belief system. They literally have documents, which I believe that Annie Cushing, hubby number 3's sister, has shared on her channel. Yes, this document's been found leaked on Reddit or something. So when it's things like that, it's kind of like goes in the conspiracy category. However, she went through it and she's like, oh my word. It's kind of like the leaked documents that Chad Daybell made, where it shows how they graded people light and dark and zombies or not zombies and how many past lives they've had and all that kind of stuff. That's got nothing to do with the LDS. Okay, and yes, someone also said prepping isn't bad. Of course, prepping isn't bad. Prepping in a religious context for end times and then having people be murdered all around you, that's pretty bad. Yeah, That's when you take something, like anything can be abused, in life. Anything, like literally, yeah, anything can become something that could harm yourself or others. And in this case, yeah, themselves harmed and many others. So yes,
Who would have known that probably is a lie. But anyway,
exactly.
she was bringing this story about all her trials, and they sounded genuine to me. I did not think she would. I don't think people are manipulating. That's one of my weaknesses. I don't manipulate. I don't know how to. So I was so foreign to it that I was like, oh, she can't be lying to me. She sounds just like me as far as
You heard it yourself. I don't manipulate. I don't know how to. You're manipulating the whole room right now, trying to. At least we could see right through you, lady. Uh-huh. But yet you just said that Lori was mirroring you.
my testimony of Christ. Now, not all the crazy stuff, but just that normal kind of sisterly bond that you would have with somebody in church. So then she tells me,
Another one. I have to stop all the time. I got to tell you all the info. Okay, I've got so much info, more than I could share here on one stream. The point is, when Chad Daybell's lawyer spoke to her and said, "Did you experience her? Did you have like a sisterly bond with her?" She didn't know how to answer the question. She's like, "I don't know if I would say sister, but right here she said it's like a sisterly bond." See what I mean? There's a lot of contradictions when you cross-reference, and that is a red flag.
Well, because we had listened to Mike Stroud, he talked about 144,000 and about how people are going to be called to help be instruments in God's hands of bringing people together, like the lost tribes and different things in the last days. And so she says, well, I've had these experiences and I know that I'm part of the 144,000. The Lord sealed me his in the temple kind of thing. And I didn't necessarily disbelieve it. It wasn't a new thought for me because I had listened to different podcasters talk about some of their experiences. And I didn't think that they were lying either because they sounded like it matched Mormon doctrine. All of it did. Because I'd read the scriptures a lot and I thought, well, I know about these things, but somebody's actually having them. And so, but, people can have real.
Anyway, that's kind of that timestamp done. Sixth Sense says, serious question then, why didn't they stop it then? You could literally ask that with any religion when people take it to their own level and do harm to themselves or others. There's many examples of that across many religions, and no one there says, well, then why didn't they stop it? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You can't blame the LDS. They didn't know what they were doing behind closed doors. No one knew that that's what they were up to. Otherwise, the case would have been solved a lot quicker. They were looking for those children for 6 months. So hectic. Louisa Marquez, welcome to membership. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know she'd be growing. Okay, so back to the notes. So Lori said that she knew she was part of the 144,000. She said that love is the most powerful weapon against the adversary. This is something that she apparently learned from a podcast. She took it very literally. And so for her and Chad, it became, we need to be together. We need to do anything and no one can be in our way. We need to be together. So they just so badly wanted to be together, but that they made it so sick. And people had to be murdered along the way because they just wanted to expedite being together. Pretty much, Anyway, Melanie said the one she was standing in this like archway in the temple, and she felt this experience of like light and heat on her head. To me, it sounds like the sun shining through, and it's like that magnifying glass effect. But anyway, she had some kind of spiritual experience with light and heat. And you know what Lori said? I mean, Lori only just like kind of met her. It was like new friendship, new sisterhood or whatever. I don't know. Here she's saying sisterly friends, whatever. But Lori took that moment and said that she has the power to ordain Melanie. Now, that is interesting to me based on Lori's psychology, how quickly she can like really dominate the situation, how narcissistic she is to think that you're a newbie here, you're in my class, but now you're going to tell me that you have the power directly from God to ordain you. She's like, oh my word, it's happening. This is what I've been asking for. Okay, I can like totally ordain you. I mean, she's got some nerve, like no respect for others or hierarchy. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, Melanie is very much a believer in people having extraordinary gifts from God. So she believed that Lori and Chad could see beyond the veil. And because she couldn't see beyond the veil or experience what they were experiencing, she believed what they were saying. That's a bit of a vulnerability, in a belief system. Just because Whoa, look how those two abused it. Oh my word. Me Too. Oh my word. Is it just past midnight? Yes, it's midnight for Me Too over here in the Netherlands. So, morning, everyone. Yeah, I think she referred to Laurie as her sister before she realized the implications. Exactly. But it gets worse. It does get worse. So, no spoilers, okay? It's how you interpret a scripture or the Torah. That's when it can be dangerous. Exactly. Exactly. Especially when it involves murdering others. My word. Okay. So we continue on. Okay, now at Zulema's house, who's Zulema? She was Alex Cox's wife, which would be Laurie Vallow's brother, Alex Cox, right? He followed her everywhere. They had a very strange relationship. He got married, and he was dead within a month or so of getting married. So that's interesting. But this Zulema, we're going to look at her next. If you look at all the streams I've got coming up, I've still got a lot of work to do because I want to deep dive Zulema. She sounds extremely interesting. In the sense that, whoa, how much was she involved? Sounds like a lot, right? Meaning she was apparently casting out evil spirits, and specifically for Charles Vallow, because Melanie over here says that Charles was the only one with that issue at the time. You see, she was aware of the issue, and the issue was that Charles Vallow had these evil spirits in him, and they named it. It actually isn't Nick Schneider, it's Ned Schneider, and then one called Garrett, I think it was, and then Enos, or what was the other one? Wait, I've got it written down here. Hold on, we flapping notes. Notes be flapping and flying. I also do have one of my own notebooks, finally. Yes, Grizzly books. Grizzly notebooks, Grizzly notes. Keep it Grizzly. If you want to get your own notebook, you can. On the link below. I can't find the names of those spirits now. We'll find it just now. 3 spirits. There we go. Ned, Garrett, and Elos. And she's like, oh, he was the only one with that issue. So let's go to this timestamp here, which is at 24:20.
Revelation. I call it pretend because who knows what they're listening to.
Describe to me how
How they did
how
it?
they did it.
Okay, so they were trying to figure out first how to do it, and so they were all coming up with different ideas, and I wasn't familiar with their vernacular. They would say things like, like Melanie would coin the phrase, probably some kind of malachite or something after a while. Like malachite's a gem. So they thought that gem had powers. You know how in the chakra world people get into stones and stuff like that? They kind of brought that into that. So they thought that had the power. And then
Those malachite rings or the malachite stone.
Well, she eventually got that, yeah, but that was yeah, like the malachite stone. And then I remember Serena having a moment where she was like, we just need to ask, I don't know, it's a question. I remember it triggered something like, we need to ask permission for something. Anyway, sorry, it's been too long. And it was weird that something happened that night that was strange. Zulema and was it Serena? It's almost like they got attacked by an evil spirit. Like all of a sudden, Zulema's sitting there talking and all of a sudden she can't breathe. She's like, I'm having a hard time. I'm like, what is that about? And then
Exactly.
Serena, it seemed like something happened to her where something happened to her. And Nicole, or maybe it was Nicole. I know Nicole had something with, Nicole's a sweet, gentle soul. People met
This is
her.
up to 28:07.
And she just all of a sudden got really depressed and really heavy and quiet. So anyway, they were obviously open in darkness anyway. So they would say, well, anytime darkness comes after you, it's because you're doing the right thing. So it's an oppositional idea.
Sure.
Right?
Oh, man.
And so anyway, they would just basically, she would raise her arm to the square, Lori would, and then she would say through her priesthood power, which she believes she had the patriarchal power, which was higher than the Melchizedek power. Okay. Sorry if this is confusing. I don't know.
I'm following you.
He's following you.
Look how she talks to this officer now.
And be patient. And so,
I don't like that. It was like, ooh, just be patient, sis.
and Chad would help groom her into these beliefs and ideas. He would help her believe more and more, like, you're the most powerful woman in the world, whatever. And so, anyway, they would just, each one of them had like a little something to say, like how they could help in a loving manner. It wasn't like an evil or a dark, like a yucky kind of a voice. It was, or I'm mad at you kind of a voice. It was like, come to the light, or, something like that. And so the only part I pitched in was my testimony of Jesus Christ. I didn't have anything else to offer than that, because I was like, well, Jesus did this, and look at what's his name, and look at Paul the apostle, and and I was just trying to share my little part, because I was like, all these people, I don't know. And so anyway, that's just how she did it. And so she
Condescending.
and I think she kind of did it more on her own as she got more closer to Chad, and everybody's kind of started leaving the group, like Nicole and what's her name, Christina were out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Serena was out early. Thank goodness on their part they were out early. And
we're almost done with this.
Lord was getting jealous, or how the jealousy can get in.
So it's about the jealousy.
Serena would call Chad too much, and then she was like, Chad was like, well, she has more intentions than this, and then they cut her out of the group, just stupid stuff like
So
that.
you think that they cut Serena out of the group because Lori was jealous?
Well, I think so. He would say, this is how it started. He'd say, she keeps calling me. Serena keeps calling me, asking more and more questions, and then he would tell that to Lori. And Lori would talk to him about that and say, oh, she wants to learn more power. And she's actually now getting darker because she's getting like Julie Rowe or something something stupid like that. And then so pretty soon they had deemed her more dark, and she just they just cut her off. Basically means, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. So she went out of the country and came back. She got sick.
So that's that. They bring up this Julie Rowe a lot. The podcaster? They bring up Julie Rowe a lot. Like, Chad obviously has some kind of resentment towards her, because it's always like when Chad's wife, Tammy, woke up from a dream and heard a knock on the door. He's like, yep, that's Julie Rowe's spirit waking you up. Like, what? My word. Yeah, she's giving way too much information where it distracts, but I suppose that's the point. Okay, so I'm going to try and move a little faster, because otherwise we'll be all nine. Hold on. So she said Melanie Pulowski coined the phrase something Malachite to cast evil spirits out. I find that interesting. That's why we're also going to look at that Melanie. This Melanie is Melanie Gibb, Lori's friend. This Melanie Pulowski is Lori's niece, and she knows a lot too. A lot, from what I can gather here. So yes, Lori was jealous of other women, talking to Chad, protecting the podcast people from people on the internet, she says, and yet she names other podcasts. What? Like, this lady, the reason I wrote that sentence and what that really means is everything she says, she literally says it, and then she says the opposite of it in the same sentence. Contradicts herself in one sentence a lot. She said that Zulema, that's Alex Cox's wife, and Julie were very into energy work, and she blames pretty much them for bringing evil into this whole group, Melanie Gibb, this Melanie, was involved in plus or minus 10 castings, so that's casting out spirits. All were about Charles Vallow. See, that's where people get real mad, because she was very much involved in the group, all of them pointing out Charles is evil. He's got these spirits. We need to work on him. And then he died. He was shot in the chest twice by Alex Cox. Okay. So it seems as though they couldn't get the spirits that they could see out of him. They made his life a living hell. He absolutely deserved none of that. It's like a group of maniacs. I feel so sorry for Charles and his family. And then after Charles had died, you know what happened next? Ooh, now Tammy, which is Chad Daybell's wife. They identified that she's actually really sweet, but she's starting, the dark spirits are starting to work on her. So they just need to keep an eye on her. And guess what? And she died. Yes. Okay, carrying on here. Zulema thought that she had the power to move the earth and create earthquakes. So remember when Lori went and got married in Hawaii to Chad Daybell, and she was really not concerned that anyone would think, well, your kids have just gone missing and now you're getting married. She thought the end of the world was right around the corner, and no one would even remember, because there'd be such severe earthquakes in Idaho and beyond. So she didn't think the whole world would end. She just was like, there'll be such severe earthquakes. Everyone will be focused on that. They won't think even about us getting married here in Hawaii and having the time of our lives. While our partners have just died. Been murdered. And allegedly. And the children were murdered. And now off they go to get married. She's like, no one will even remember, because there'll be huge earthquakes. So I find it interesting that Zulema thought that she had the power to move the earth and cause earthquakes. So, Chad, this is all stuff Melanie said in this interview. Chad, Lori, this Melanie, Alex, Lori's brother, Zulema, the other Melanie, and David, they all got together at Charles Vallow's house. And they continued to talk about spirits leaving bodies. So then they identified that Tammy and Brandon, those were problems. Tammy ended up being murdered. Yes, her autopsy has not been publicly revealed, but Lori and Chad have been charged with her murder, first-degree murder. Okay, so the trial's going to happen, and they're facing the death penalty for these types of charges. Or, I suppose, if they don't get that, life imprisonment with no parole, I'm assuming. Right, so Tammy was murdered, and Brandon was almost. It was a failed hit. Huh? So then every time they, as a group, identify this one now has got some dark spirits, they're an inconvenience to us, dead. That's scary, right? Okay. So when Lori left Charles the first time, Melanie over here says that she went to Alex's house. Remember when Charles filed for divorce? If you don't remember, watch part 1 and 2, okay, especially part 2. That was a deep, deep dive. When Charles filed for divorce in February of 2019, apparently Lori packed up and went to Hawaii with Tylee for 58 days. But here, Melanie's saying when Lori left Charles the first time, she went to Alex's house for a while. That's interesting. That's her brother. She had a very weird relationship with him, but I'm like, oh, I wonder really if she went there first and then to Hawaii. You know what I mean? Or when else did she? When was the first time? She didn't say the date there. Chad identified how many zombies were in each state. Oh my word. This is all the stuff Melanie shared. Thank goodness she shared all this with all of us so that we can actually get a little insight into what was going on in that cult type setting. It wasn't an official cult. They didn't have a name for the cult or something, but still. He identified exactly how many zombies were in each state. And then he created a little porthole in Lori's closet where all she had to do was go in there and then she could be really close to him, because of this porthole. Or she could pray there and get rid of zombies in other states. So after she would do all these praying rituals, then she would call Chad again and he would say, yep, yeah, you just successfully got rid of all the zombies in this state, or 1,000 zombies have died. And no one had any proof that this was real or not. Mel Gibb introduced Lori to Chad. Yes, exactly. So, yes, Chad said that they could not get the evil spirit out of Charles Vallow because the spirit was breaking eternal law. So Chad always had some new reason. If something wasn't working, he made up something else, something new to add to his new religion. He said that these spirits were breaking eternal law. After the first dark spirit was cast out, an even darker spirit entered Charles Vallow. If they couldn't get the dark spirits out, Melanie believes that Chad just made things up to make Lori happy. Of course, that included murder. Once Charles was allegedly murdered, he was shot twice in the chest by Alex Cox. Lori fixated on Melanie's ex-husband, Brandon. And this Brandon, man, I can't say this word. If I'm not allowed to say the word I couldn't say yesterday, I can't say this one either. Hold on. I'm thinking how to say it. They categorize people in certain groups. And with a certain, actually Austrian, but German leader in a very terrible situation. Don't say it in the chat either, otherwise YouTube's going to ping this. Very evil man in history, okay? He was apparently in his camp. They put Brandon in his camp. He was as evil as that dictator. You know what I mean? What? Okay, so look at this. At 48:14 over here, she says this.
I keep saying, call me. If you have like a brain cramp, Melanie can help me sort me out, because I can at least I got my memory.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
I know, but I was just saying, when you're going through stuff and you're going through all this stuff, you need to keep it collective. Ask me, because I'm going to tell the truth. Nobody's going to tell it like me.
All right.
I found that line very interesting. I'm going to tell the truth because no one's going to tell it like me. Some lyrics from the song, It's Not Me. It's not me, it's you. It's not me, it's you. Always has been you. All the lies and stupid things you say and do, it's you. Oh my word. So she said Tammy, Chad's wife, Tammy was a different one because she was sweet. But around September, Lori said that Tammy was good, but that evil spirits were working on her. They were not in her yet, but they were working on her. Tammy was actually starting to question if Chad was seeing someone else, and that's how they knew that the evil spirits were in her. And then she was murdered. A month later. A month after. Wait, August, September, October. Yeah, so she was asking around September. She died on October 19th, 2019. In September, She was asking her husband, are you involved with someone else? Like, what is actually going on here? Are you cheating on me? Are you having an affair? They were married for 23 years and had 5 children. When she questioned her husband's faithfulness, that's it. She had dark spirits in her. She had to go. It's very hectic. It's very. Okay. Also, in this group of people, no one had a gift, like a spiritual gift, until they stepped into this circle, except Zulema. She had a visionary gift from the start. Like, she could friggin' move the earth and cause earthquakes from day one. Lori and Zulema went to the temple often together. Zulema and Lori would try to seal the spirits, which means to talk it completely out of the body. Apparently, whenever somebody around Lori died, she said their spirits are now sealed. So that is also interesting. Stephanie says YouTube censoring certain words is stupid. Well, the minimum age to join YouTube is 13. Same for Instagram. I actually chatted to Robert about this today. 13 is the minimum age for YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And that is kind of, they want everything to be PG-13. But there are certain words you can't say. I learned it yesterday. I had to stream twice. Because the first stream, because I said one dictator's name, it was shadow banned in Europe and the UK. No one can see it. Okay, moving right along. For one word out of a 1.5 hour live stream. Moving along. Okay. So Lori felt that she had no power because Chad just had so much power. So what am I reading here to you in case you're joining now? I'm reading you all the notes I made from this interview. Okay. And then we're going to look at the next one. It won't be as long because then I got much more efficient with my time stamping and just, but okay. I just wish I could give you all this info. As I say, we'd sit here for hours. So I'd rather just link it afterwards, all these interviews below, and then you can watch it if you want to watch the whole thing like I did, right? So here's the funny part. That's the thing. Melanie was saying that while Lori, I'm just going to use normal layman's terms, was quite narcissistic, Chad was even worse, okay? Because as soon as she was around Chad, she like lost all her gifts. It was all about Chad. She just listened to Chad from that moment on. She said actually she kind of lost her powers and she was just, he's just so powerful, you know, that she's just going to believe what he says. And that's a problem still. It's a problem still now. Sorry, I got distracted now by a message. So 13-year-olds can't know history. I don't know. Ask YouTube. I don't know what on earth the problem is with saying certain things. But of course, graphic words. I mean, true crime is like, got to be real careful. True crime is for adults only. Got to say that beginning of the episode. Yeah, so Lori was saying Chad is just so powerful. She feels so weak around him. See, that's a problem. They were like kind of fueling each other. You know what I mean? It became very toxic very quickly. Melanie, absolutely believed that Charles was a zombie. That's a mic drop moment because she did believe it, okay? She said that Alex 100% believed in zombies. Melanie said, you know, even though she acted like she believed 100%, she spoke like it, she was there in it. She immersed herself, made the whole group believe that she believed 100%. She always had a little smidge of doubt, you know? So she always like kind of builds in a little protection for herself of like, well, I believe that it's kind of like saying 99.9%, you know, but not all the way, just like 99.9. Anyway, and then there's one more timestamp. I've actually got 2 timestamps. One is at 1:02:54. So hold on. 1:02:54.
And anyway, it was the last time I saw him. And he said, I 100% believe in it, Melanie.
Alex.
And so this is the thing, is I think because he 100% believed in it, he had to, because at this point he had probably killed the kids, is my guess. He probably did it. I don't know. I'm guessing. Maybe you guys are guessing too.
Okay, then, lady. It's amazing how she talks to the cops of like, she always says like, maybe you know more than I know. I don't know. She's kind of trying to fish for what they know.
But he 100% believed it. And she didn't 100% believe it. And then when I called her, when I realized, oh, holy cow, I called her. I tried to talk to her. She was not there yet.
What do you mean by that? She's just.
I said to her, Sulema, and I don't remember the full conversation because I was in fire in my mind, like, holy cow, right?
Okay, then. One word. What? The memory hole is next. And then the last one where she says, the murderer is down the street. Oh, my word. Every word that I catch here. So look at this one.
Twice. And probably the one. So I said, I'm going to the police. And I said, is Alex on? Can Alex hear me? And she goes, it's on speaker. I said, take it off speaker.
As if she
Now
did
here's
that.
the murders down the street. Remember, they live close to me. Remember, Sulema?
Here's the murderers down the street. I mean, that's a slip of the tongue right there. Because people have wondered exactly who did what. And she says, here's the murderers down the street. Remember that. They live very close to me. That means allegedly, Zulema and Alex are referred to here as the murderers. And Alex is dead. Okay. And he died one day after Tammy Daybell's body was exhumed. Because the police were starting to be like, this case, no, there's something really off here. There's no way she just died in her sleep. They exhumed her body, did an autopsy. The results are not publicly available. The children, though, the Daybells have said that she was asphyxiated. And Lori and Chad have been charged with her murder, first degree. So just listen to that one more time.
Not Lori. And I said, well, I don't believe I don't know what I described, but I just described it, and I didn't believe who they were. And I said, I'm going to be going to the police. And I remember it seemed like I talked to her maybe twice, and probably the last. So I said, I'm going to the police. And
Listen.
And I said, is Alex on? Can Alex hear me? And she goes, it's on speaker. I said, take it off speaker. Now here's the murders down the street. Remember, they live close to me. Remember, Sulema lived around the corner from me. And I'm thinking, I just got myself in a situation. They could come after me, right? But I didn't. I had to do what I had to do. I wanted. She was my friend. I wanted to warn her.
Oh my word. Yes, Alex was dead at this point when she did this interview already. This interview was April 30th, 2021. And he died in 2019. Okay, so there's that. Okay, and then let's just look at 107 quickly. I cannot believe how long all of this takes. I hope you guys are okay. I hope you're enjoying it. Please give it a thumbs up if you are.
Feel that. Anyway, she goes, oh, let me know.
look at the cop's like looking at her phone. What?
Bishop told me what happened. I was so surprised. So sad. This was after he died. So this
Right.
was, yeah, so yeah, I guess it was 2 days later, right? I'm so sorry. Words cannot express how I feel. I am extremely only surprised at your hypocrisy because of what you did. I didn't have to not only deal with my precious husband dying in my arms, but then when police were ransacking my house and traumatizing my entire family. You are not my friend. You are not to speak to me or anyone in my family ever again. I want you to pay the $2,000 you owe as soon as possible. Go to the math and I forget that I exist. So you can understand why I haven't talked to her.
So
Then I just told her.
is she just mad because you made the phone call to us? Is that why she's mad? And she thinks that God's pointed towards Alex's direction?
I guess. She knew I was going to the police.
That day was December 16th.
Yeah.
So she was just saying it's like she's extremely gullible. She says there why she no longer talks to Lori, but it's because Lori said, do not ever speak to me or my family again type of thing. So it's not like she decided not to talk to Lori. It's like Lori doesn't want to talk to her. Thank you for the thumbs up here. Also hit the thumbs up down there. All right. So continuing on quickly with my notes, she thought that Chad was a great visionary. She did. She thought he was a great visionary. That's how she describes him. Patty in Pink, thank you so much for your $20 super sticker. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. It makes all the hard work feel really worth it. Thank you so much. Okay. For all of you just watching, don't worry. You don't have to buy super stickers. I appreciate you just being here, watching along with me, okay? As we unpack this case, I can't help doing all these deep dives and details. We want to look at it all, on my word. Okay. Now, on the weekend of September 22nd, remember that J.J. Vallow murdered September 23rd. So on the weekend of September 22nd, Melanie was at Lori's house for a podcast. She said she saw Alex come into the house carrying JJ and that he took him upstairs. She didn't see Alex leave. She didn't see JJ again. She also didn't seem to ask any questions at that point. That's dodgy to me. Very shady. Apparently, this Melanie here, woke up next to David, her boyfriend. They were staying in, well, at first she was staying in Tylee's room and then in JJ's room. Okay, so the guests were staying over. She stayed for about 5 days. No sign of Tylee. Tylee was already murdered at that point. But Lori told her, no, man, she's at BYU. She's at university. And then she sees Alex carrying JJ into the house like he's just passed out. Alex took him out for a bit because they had to record their podcast, you know, from like 9 p.m. until midnight, like a long podcast. Not that I could talk. Look at me go. But it's a long time for just a podcast episode. My word. And she didn't see him again. Didn't ask questions, you know? I also find it interesting how on Sunday, September 22nd, Melanie, David, Chad, and Alex went to go look at vacant lots, like property, very close to Chad Daybell's property. Because Chad was trying to inspire them to build a home there. That's an interesting little outing they had. Anyway, so Melanie woke up next to David, her boyfriend, who had a bad dream. And so she thought it would be a really great idea to get up and go and knock on Lori's bedroom door, where apparently JJ had been put down, like put to sleep. Like, what? So is it Lori and JJ staying in that room? You know, that's what it seems like. But she saw Alex take JJ upstairs and not again. Anyway, so David had a bad dream. She was going to Lori's room to ask her to come and please give David a blessing. And the door was locked, and she found that quite strange. Right? I don't think Miss Gibb is a fan of children. She's apparently got children. And it's so hectic how she talks about JJ. Because JJ's on the autism spectrum, and she's just like, ooh, he's like energetic. He's like a busybody or whatever. That's also a very generalized way to look at autism. Like, seriously, woman. But she's apparently got a son who is also on the spectrum. I find that very interesting. Because of how she refers to, like, can't relate to JJ, can't, we don't have a relationship, he does not reciprocate, like, it's weird, you know? Anyway, so Lori's bedroom door was locked at the time. That's weird, that's a red flag, because it's JJ and Lori in there, you know what I mean? These cops must have stellar poker face, right? I agree. Okay, so Lori, she said Lori was kind of into her clothes. She always cared about how she looked. Yeah, kind of, we can see that. Lori sent a text on Sunday, the 21st of September at 8 p.m. to Melanie saying, I'll be there shortly. JJ woke up and I'm trying to get him back to sleep. That's for the podcast. That's weird. Lori sent that text on Sunday, the 22nd of September, I believe it was. 22nd, on the Sunday. I'll be there shortly. JJ woke up and I'm trying to get him back to sleep. She says they must have been at Alex's house, because Chad was still with Tammy. Into her clothes. She wore the same thing every day. Apparently she wore like really fresh clothes every day, but it was the same kind of stuff. She's like spandex top, spandex bottom. My word. Melanie and David were sleeping in JJ's official room. She first stayed in Tylee's room for the first 1 or 2 nights. And then, so Wednesday or Thursday, she stayed in Tylee's room. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday in JJ's room. She left on Monday. That's the day that JJ was murdered. Well, the last day he was, seen alive. And based on all the pings and the cell phones and everything later, in hindsight, they found his body on Chad Daybell's property. Anyway, she also says about Laura, she wasn't much of a cooker. Wow. Now, here's the thing that some of you have already said in here. But Melanie said, now this I find very interesting, that Lori sometimes made up spiritual names for people because, you know, she lived multiple lives, 21 lives already, 5 on planet Earth. Chad Daybell, this was him that told her this. He'd already lived 31 lives. I mean, he was exalted, okay? And 5 on this earth. And they, Chad and Lori, had apparently in past lives been married multiple times. But the thing is, because of those beliefs, these multiple lives, Lori sometimes referred to others by other names. So she called Melanie Phoebe. And I'm like, did you watch Friends or what? Did you watch Friends? Melanie Lazarus Kissinger. It gives us all those vibes. Stephanie Lazarus, Nicole Kissinger, and Melanie the Gibster. Oh my word. Okay. So, wait, what I was saying? Lori called her Phoebe. And guess what? Melanie called Lori Mom. You know why she called her Phoebe? Because she's like, in a past life, you were my child. So I'm your mommy now. Not only am I I have the authority to ordain you. Also, you're my child. Okay, Melanie. Wow. And so Melanie, called her mom in some text messages sometimes. The cops were like, so you called her mom sometimes? And she's like, yeah, she's my spiritual mom. She said also, this was one quote I wrote down. She said, you believe in enough to sound like you believe in it. She acted and sounded like it, even though she didn't 100% believe it. That's pure manipulation. So she manipulated a whole group of close friends. You know what I mean? Thank you, Caroline, for your 99-cent super sticker. Breaking news. Melanie Gibb to land major role in The Walking Dead as a zombie police interrogator. You know what the problem is? I can visualize that. Now that image is in my head. Oh, my word. Next. Okay. Next up, everybody. I think we need a very quick little commercial break. What do you say? What do you say? I had map time and everything prepared. My word. We'll do that another time because we've got 2 more things to look at. This is going to be a long episode. Okay, hold on. Let's do this.
Welcome to Grizzly True Crime, established June 2021. Thank you for watching. Viewing Grizzly videos is a great source of support, and it's free. There are other 100% free ways to support Grizzly True Crime. Like, subscribe, and share. Other fantastic ways to support the channel would be, for example, becoming a member. Click the join button or the link below. During a live stream or premiere, you can buy a super chat or super sticker by clicking that button right there. The most direct way to support the channel would of course be through PayPal, link below. Join the Grizzly Patreon community for exclusive content. There are 3 tiers to choose from. I am a true crime author, so you could get my ebooks, audiobooks, or paperbacks, and I also offer you notebooks or journals. buymeacoffee.com/Gisela K. Need I say more? You know I love coffee. Get yourself some Grizzly merch, and if you post a picture of yourself in it, remember to tag me so that I can share it too. My merch shelf is now also active right below this video. If not, just click the link in the description box. If you haven't yet, join us Grizzlies on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. We have a really great community on all those platforms as well. Thank you so much for watching, and now let's get back to the live stream or video.
Okay, and we're back and we're in court, everyone. Okay, so this one will be quicker. I do want to work through the things I still have left to show you, okay? This will be quicker because we've gone over a lot of the notes that I've already shared. So let me just put this over here. This would actually be, so you saw what you saw now previously was the second interview she did with the Rexburg PD on April 30th, 2021. This one was actually before. This was on August 19th, 2020. And what I've got here for you is, did I put it on there? Yes. Here she talks about Charles Vallow having the 3 spirits, one named Ned, Garrett, Elos. She said that Laurie didn't have a proper burial for Charles because all the demons were just following her around. She couldn't just get divorced because, she'd lose her exaltations because, people are saying, why don't you just get divorced? I don't know who said it. Melanie says she was even saying, why don't you just get divorced? She's like, no, I'd lose my exaltations. That's a problem. That's why people had to get murdered along the way. She didn't want to lose her exaltations. Apparently murder is fine because remember we heard in part 2, the call snippet, not a call, it was a recording actually of Laurie saying that according to scripture, murder is okay. Oh my word. If you didn't see that, please go watch part 1 and 2. You'll get all caught up, okay? Laurie even went to the temple in Hawaii. The reason I say that is because obviously there she's gallivanting, she's honeymooning, she's doing a thing. She apparently went to the temple there as well. Melanie thinks that sex was the driving force behind what they did. She said first religion, then sex, and then money. That makes a lot of sense. Can you imagine those two? Oh no, we don't want to imagine that. But Laurie and Chad, like, oh no. I'm just saying, like, if that's the driving force, like, oh man, get a room and leave everyone else alone. You know what I mean? Okay, so whatever, I've timestamped this. Let's just see. What's this at 136? This is at 43. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I've timestamped this for some reason. Let's see what she says.
Okay, I know. All truth will come together if it's true.
So let me get this.
Oh yeah, that when she's just like like laughing. The whole truth will come together if it's true, and then she laughs her head off. I don't find that appropriate at all.
Right, so you you took Lori to pick up the truck at the airport. And Lori picked up the truck, is that true?
Oh, I didn't go to the airport.
No,
That was
how did-
Alex.
Alex went to the airport. Okay,
Yes,
so
yeah,
Alex.
I did not go to the airport.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Alex.
that was Alex. Some people in the media.
Oh yeah. Okay. So remember, if you don't remember, you got to check out I think it was in part 1 we shared where Charles Vallow was given such a hard time by Lori and Alex that when he went on a business trip, not only did Lori cancel his return ticket without him knowing, he got to the airport. It's like, nope, sorry, sir, your ticket's been canceled. But when he got back home, his truck was no longer at the airport either. And now Melanie revealed, well, Alex actually moved the truck. So Alex was doing exactly as Lori said. But really what I was showing there is where she laughs like that.
Corroborates information.
This, what she says.
I know. All truth will come together if it's true.
So let me get
To me, that's kind of evil what she's doing there. The whole truth will come together if it's true. Laugh, laugh, laugh. And this is her first interaction with the police. And you think it's so funny at this point? And this, I mean, think about it. It's August 19th, 2020. The children's bodies were only found in June. And this is how she's behaving. I can't believe it. And then just see, yeah, this one at 1:36:30, and then we're done with this one. I will pin all of these in the comments afterwards so that you can watch them if you want to. Wait, 1:36:30. Around here. Here she's going to say, you can imagine what I'm going through. It's a living hell. And I'm like, hello, 2 children and a wife were murdered. And a husband, possibly. Lots of people dying around Lori. And she's like, you could just imagine what I'm going through. It's a living hell. I can imagine what those children went through. I can imagine what Larry and Kay are going through. And all the other family members.
Oh, I'm like, oh.
I work on it for a day and I'm jangled for a week. So it's,
You can imagine what I've gone through.
I know.
It has been a living hell, but
I don't
I'm
wanna
stronger.
imagine really. Yeah.
No, I'm very stronger because of it. And
Yes, of course, laughing is a nervous reaction. I do it a lot on this channel. Yes, I do. Some people are like, why do you laugh so much? Anxiety. So it could be, but given that this is her very first interview, and you have to watch the whole thing to get the whole context. We can't just look at really one snippet and be like, oh my word, she's laughing there, look at her, etc. You got to look at the whole thing, and you'll see. She's way too happy, you know what I mean? And it's something that Lori also was. I mean, Lori was like cheerful. The day that Tylee went missing, the day that JJ went missing. And later we found out they were murdered and buried on Chad Daybell's property. Lori wasn't even with Chad Daybell yet. He was living with his wife. And Lori's children are being buried on his property? That's crazy. But even then, Melanie said, Lori was cheerful. She was happy-go-lucky. Like, no, this is not good. Okay. Now, so let me just quickly continue so you can just see the physiology is pretty similar.
there's many things I'm grateful that happened to me and not somebody else.
Right.
Because I got to experience something at a very high level that was deception.
Exactly.
That if I could consider my armor,
Yeah.
I had a weak link in this deception area.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's fortified. And now I know a lot more about deception. I'm grateful for that knowledge. I'm not grateful for what happened. I'm horrified that people died because of these crazies.
Yeah.
Thank you,
When
Barbara.
somebody like Chad comes along and he seems so humble and sweet and kind, he looks like a typical Idaho boy, you know? You don't think that they're lying to you, because I don't get the lying, the deceiving. I don't understand that. And so I just thought he was who he was. And so
I showed you that. Yes, Chad and Lori were together while Tammy was alive, of course. Yes, they were. And then 2 weeks after Tammy was murdered, they got married in Hawaii. 2 weeks. He'd been married to Tammy for 23 years and had 5 children with her. Oh my goodness. She's like very chilled. It's like her cop buddies, as we say. Look at
I
it.
have really started to see the flags of deception now, like little things along the way. We're talking to God all the time. We're getting all these answers all the time. No, God does not work like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell you what to do. Every time you wake up, he gives you.
All right, so there's that. And then what I want to show you is this quickly. So, yes, let me do this. This is when she testified at the Chad Daybell hearing. Wait, 34:48. Right here. Okay. Here, her demeanor was a little different. I get it's court. She's nervous, but less giggling, not buddy, you know. Thank you so much. Okay, so
Hello, sweet Melanie.
Hi, Chad.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Sorry, hold on. That's important. I'm like, why did I timestamp that? Okay, so wait, let me just show you. I'll go to this timestamp now so you can just see how she is here.
For her salvation and Chad's, and that they had been very deceived. And I also wanted to make sure that the police knew that I did not have anything to do with this.
Okay. How did you record that conversation?
Yes, it is
On a
one in the
cell
morning for me.
phone.
Okay. You mentioned earlier the conversation was with Chad's number.
Correct,
Was that the same number you discussed earlier?
correct.
And what phone
Exactly.
did you use to have this conversation?
My phone, and then I had a recorder phone on David Warwick's, and so I put my phone on speaker, and then I recorded it with his phone.
Okay. Had law enforcement asked you to record
You can just see all that buddy. Of course, it's court now. I just mean all the buddy. It's not there anymore. Not in
a
court.
conversation with Mrs. Vallow or Mr. Daybell?
No,
So, to quickly summarize this whole, that's what I've literally worked on all day. If you wonder what is going on here, if you're just rolling in, I watched everything I'm showing you tonight. I've been watching that, okay? A lot, all of it, little by little, step by step, making notes so that I can share exactly, what I found was interesting or important with you. So that maybe those of you who don't want to watch the whole thing, you could get a bit of a summary here, a little taste, But if you do want to go watch it all, I'll pin it in the comments afterwards. So she said she met Lori October 2018. At least she seems to say that all the time, October 2018. She said Lori and Chad were very much in love and wanted to be together as soon as possible. Lori told Melanie that she was trying to find a solution for getting rid of JJ. And one of the solutions was she was going to fake being sick so that she could call Kay, having number 4 sister, right? Call Kay and say, can you please take JJ? Because I'm struggling with an illness. She then told Melanie, she followed up with her and said, when Melanie said, how's JJ? She said, oh, no, fine. I did drop him off at Kay. And I told her I'm struggling, I'm battling breast cancer. What? I was like, excuse me? Lori's like, yeah, got breast cancer. Kay understood. She took JJ in. Of course, at that point, JJ had been murdered. Lori then said that Kay was trying to kidnap JJ. Melanie recorded a phone call with Chad and Lori using David's phone. Her phone was on speakerphone. That's what she was just saying. She was doing this so that she could basically show the cops, you see, I did ask them, why are they saying? Because let me just back it up for a second. Lori told Melanie that JJ was with Kay. But Lori told the police that JJ was with Melanie. And then when the police were really on to Lori, then Chad phoned Melanie and said, the Rexburg PD are going to call you, don't pick up the phone. And Melanie lied to the police the first time saying, he's here with me. I just took him to watch Frozen 2. Yes, I did. And she's going to explain in this phone call everything that happened. So that's one of the final things we're looking at. I'm just looking at my very important notes. Lori's arraignment. Yes, that, and that. Recorded call and takes the stand. Yeah, okay. So that's what we're doing. So that's what we're going to look at now is the phone call that Melanie recorded using her boyfriend's phone. So she phoned Lori and Chad on Chad's number, I believe. And you'll hear Chad say, hi, sweet Melanie. That's how he greets her. Interesting. And anyway, she put it on speakerphone and then used David's phone to record the conversation. And then she handed that to the police, which again, I find quite forward thinking and manipulative, to just be like, no, you see, I did question them about it. And I don't know, it's kind of to to clear her name because she had lied the first time to the police. So just to finish up these last bit of notes before I play you the call, Melanie met Chad in July 2017, Lori in October 2018. She said that again. I just cross-reference, I check all the interviews and make sure that they're all the same. There are some things that are like, wait a minute, but here you said this and here you said that. And then in late November, Melanie lied to the police about JJ. 10 to 12 days later, she told the police that she didn't actually have JJ. The FBI spoke to Melanie at least twice on the phone. She met Alex Cox shortly after meeting Lori. Alex moved with Lori to Idaho from Arizona. He even quit a job over it, so he would do anything for Lori, move with her, live with her, and all of that. She said that Lori and Alex were extremely close. Lori referred to Alex as Al, Melanie said she had absolutely no relationship with Tylee and no relationship with JJ. Of course, the Chad's attorney is locked onto that and finds that very interesting. You know, just like no relationship with them whatsoever. Apparently, she tried to touch Tylee's hair, Melanie, and Tylee really didn't like that. And then Lori really didn't like how Tylee reacted to that. Because Tylee was like, don't touch me, type thing. I think I would react the same. No one's allowed to touch my hair. You might not know that. Only Mr. Grizzly. Okay. Sunday, 22nd. Chad, I said this before, but Chad, Alex, David, and Melanie went to look at a vacant lot and look near Chad's property for new land for David and Melanie to live on. So it was really like gathering those 144,000, but really it was a group of what seems to be 3, 4, maybe 12 people, you know, maybe 12 people. Okay, so going to the timestamp here to hear the call would be at 34:48. Am I there? Wait, 34:48. Let's start it from here. It's 21 minutes, this one.
Hello, sweet Melanie.
Hi, Chad. Hey,
Oh, my
Lori.
word.
Hi.
Hey, let me put on speaker.
Oh, okay.
All right.
We're enough with the phone. How are you guys?
We're okay. How are you doing, babe?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks. I was wondering, where are you guys?
We're just hanging out.
Hanging out? Are you in Idaho?
We're near Idaho.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to ask you a question, if you don't mind, Lori.
Yeah, of course.
I want to know, you remember we talked about JJ going to Kay's house, and you told me they went there, and now he's not there? I was wondering what happened.
Well, I had to move him somewhere else because of her actions.
There's
So-
Chad.
Was she doing something? Like, was she trying to come get him or something? Or like trying to kidnap him?
Well, she said that lots of times before, but
Okay. When I asked Chad the other day, I was like, hey, where is JJ? And he said, for my security, he didn't want me to know. So is there a reason I should be in danger to know where he is?
no.
Thank you so much, Belle of Amherst. This is the only place I was able to make sense of this incredibly complicated case. So well done, Gisela. Your notes must be impeccable. Thanks for helping us sort out the details. Thank you for your comment. That's my goal. I don't believe in shortcuts. I want to do the hard work and then give you a summary, right? So thank you for your comment.
Well, it's nobody. It's his danger. It's the danger that there's people after me.
Okay.
We just felt that if you knew, that puts you in a danger.
Yes,
Well,
that's
in a
Kay
bad
and Larry in the back.
position.
Yeah, bad position.
Everybody, if they don't know anything, then they don't have to say they
Oh,
know.
boy.
Right. So you're just worried. Okay.
I'm just to keep him protected and
keep you protected.
And keep everybody else good.
I appreciate that. Well, I was wondering why you told the police why he was with me.
Mhm. And listen, how snarky Lori
I
gets.
just needed to have somebody so I wouldn't have to tell them where he really was.
Thank you,
because
Kim.
they were going to tell Kay where he is.
Oh, yeah. So do you think it's like your family, or like your family, your dad, or those
Well, my
people?
family, well, not my whole family, but as you know, most of my family is working against me and
Yeah.
with her, basically.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Is
She means
JJ
Kay in the
safe?
back there.
He is safe and happy.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good to hear.
Did you hear that? She said JJ is safe and happy. JJ had already been murdered and buried on her boyfriend's friggin' property because Chad was still married. Lori wasn't. Charles Vallow had died recently. And here she is saying, yeah, he is safe and happy. Oh my word.
Are you afraid of anything? Like, are you afraid to tell me that you're just afraid that that I could be in danger? Like like I don't, like if I knew, like how could that hurt me? I don't understand how that could hurt me if I knew where he was.
Well, I'm just not telling anybody so that nobody has to say where he is or get questioned to where he is, so I can keep him as safe as possible.
Yeah. Okay, I hope that he's okay. I hope you guys are okay. I did have a question that I asked Al at one point, your brother, if
Oh, they
if
look
I wanted
infuriated.
to know,
And they should
like
be.
where he was, and he said I did not want to know, and that he could not be found. So what does that mean?
I don't know why he would say that, but it's the same story. Like I don't even want Al to know. I don't want anybody to know, so that nobody has to be worried about it. I mean, nobody has to be questioned about it, so he can be safe.
Yeah.
Oh,
So how long are you gonna be away for? Like are you ever gonna be able to come out and come back to society again, or are you gonna keep, like come back? I mean, like what does that look like?
I will do whatever the Lord needs me to do every day. So
Wow,
I
convenient,
just wondered if I was ever gonna see you again.
She will do whatever the Lord needs her to do, okay? At this point, both kids are murdered. She'll just do whatever the Lord needs her to do. Wow, that's someone really abusing religion, huh?
Absolutely, you will.
Okay, so maybe when they're done chasing you, you'll be able to come out of.
Exactly.
You'll be able to come out again, or.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ridiculous thing for them to be working with Kay to find me. There's nothing that's gone on that's, you know what I'm saying? Like they're working with her in some dark capacity.
Oh, my
Police are
word.
working with her in some dark capacity. There's no reason for them to be after me in the first place.
And you can hear her voice here. She's not like, yeah, like she was in court earlier, huh?
Yes, lots of times.
Oh boy, like what did she say?
Well, it's in emails and everything. So.
So like she said she was going to come take him, or she was.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Melly.
I know it sounds like it. I'm just worried for you guys because.
Melly.
He's missing, and
I know exactly where he is. He's perfectly fine and safe.
Okay, well,
She knows exactly where he is, perfectly fine and safe. At that point, he was buried in Chad's backyard.
So I had a scripture I wanted to share with you, if you don't mind.
I love it.
I was thinking about some of the things you guys have gone through, and I saw this scripture today, and I want you to.
Let me ask you a question. About scripture. Okay. So, did Alma turn himself into King Noah, or what was he required to do?
Well, King Noah was incredibly wicked.
Yes.
And so he fled his evil ways, which is adultery and living riotously and breaking all the commandments.
Right. So what was he required to do, Alma?
He had to go and flee so that he would be safe, and then help other people realize how jacked up the system was and the government was.
What about Moroni? What was he required to do at the end?
To carry on those plates and bury them. That was his responsibility.
What did he have to do to do that? What did he have to do to do that? Did he hide?
He had to hide. He had to hide because they were so. Everybody was killing everybody in the society. Everybody was dying. They were killing all the Nephites.
And the scriptures had to hide in the cavity of a rock by day and go out by night.
The prophets did.
They did.
Apparently, I see a lot of you asking about why did they kill the children. 1, they identified them as zombies. 2, they didn't like Lori and Chad together. The kids didn't like Chad. That was a problem for Lori because all she wanted to do was be with Chad. Chad gave them the heebie-jeebies. Tylee didn't like him. She idolized her mom before, Charles Vallow was shot by Alex. And then Tylee probably started to catch on, whoa, my mom is really not a very nice lady. And she started becoming a difficult teenager, which Chad said, yep, she's a zombie. So because Chad had identified Tylee and JJ as zombies with dark, evil spirits, according to him, Lori decided they gotta go. And she collected social security payments for 45 months after their death. So it was also to, that sounds so bad. It's just like she's very money hungry, very. It's all about that life insurance and all the money she can cash in. So if they're no longer there, but she can still cash the checks, then she maximizes how much profit she has because she doesn't even have to look after them or pay for them. You know what I mean? It's terrible. But mostly it's because Chad said they're zombies, so they gotta go.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that with me. Okay, this scripture is just something that may be thoughtful for you. For behold, this is Doctrine and Covenants, section 3, verse 7 and 8. It says, for behold, you should not have feared man more than God. Although men set not the counsels of God and despise his words, yet you should have been faithful, and he would have extended his arm and supported you against all the fiery darts of the adversary. He would have been with you in every trouble. So when we work with the Lord and are obedient, He's going to protect us from adversarial darts and all kinds of negativity. But when we open the door to Satan, he comes in. And
I'm just going to skip a little forward because it is past 2 a.m. for me. And you can go and listen to this entire call, but it goes up to 55. So I want to listen to like the last 5 minutes here with you. And I will link it below in the comments after, okay?
You're back. You would not be able to tell me where you are, and we couldn't find JJ. Like, where is he? I've been asking, where is he? And you know what I mean? Like,
I can tell everything where JJ is right now, and that would not be good, JJ. So I'm sorry that you don't want me to protect my children, but I would never ask you to not protect your children.
Of course you wouldn't.
It's
so I can tell that you're just adversarial, Mel. I love you. I'm sorry that you feel this way.
Because I actually do care. I'm sharing what I feel for you because I know your salvation's in trouble for what you've done.
If my salvation is not in trouble at all,
wow.
And I think you should check that with the Lord again.
Well, I felt a lot of things from the Lord, and this doesn't feel right.
Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, sweetheart.
Sweetheart.
I'm sorry that you're friends with all those who are against me. Joseph Smith's friends turned against me.
I'm not a friend. I'm not friends with people that are against you.
Apparently you are.
I am not. I don't know Kay. I don't know who you're talking about. Your sister. I don't even know what her name or who she is. I don't know any of those people. Why would they contact me anyway? How would I even know about that?
Well, you're friends with Dave, and he's apparently now.
Well, David is a very righteous man, and I've always known that grounding about him. And he has a lot of beautiful experiences with the Lord, and these are not the same. You know, when you get the priesthood, that's Peter, James, and John shows up, and then he confirms all of those in the circle that are to get it, and everybody's a witness of that. Everybody's a witness that the pattern is in the scriptures. There's no witness that you ever receive what you think you received. Nobody has seen that but you. There's no witness. The witness, Joseph Smith, Oliver Cowdery, Martin Harris, the 8 witnesses, they all showed up.
Was there a witness when Jesus, Heavenly Father, gave that to Joseph Smith by himself in the grove? Was there a witness?
No, but they had it later with other people. That was one experience, but others joined in later. When he brought other people into it, they had experiences.
Is that in the scriptures, yes or no?
I'm sorry?
Is that in the scriptures, yes or no?
That Joseph was alone when he saw God the Father and Jesus Christ?
Yes.
Yes, he was alone.
He was alone.
But he had to open it up first.
That's not a pattern at all.
Honey, what I'm saying is that after he saw that and other people joined in, they saw the things with him. He wasn't alone. There was a witness for them. There was no witness. Anybody's never seen what you've seen or experienced what you've seen. That's your own witness, but nobody's had that.
No, God knows it, and I will never deny it. For my soul would be at stake if I did. So you can say it didn't happen to me, Mel, but if I say it, then I am accountable. You didn't witness it, but I did.
But your behaviors is not, okay, I understand that's what you believe you saw, but this is the thing, as I see, is that Your behavior is not one of somebody that's in Christ. Your behavior. What?
Okay,
Never
and
had
Larry are
any
like,
idea that you would be the person of all people to turn me.
wow.
I cannot believe
I am asking questions, and I am concerned for you. That is
It
what
is.
somebody does when they care.
You don't
Yes.
sound like you're concerned. You sound like you're accusatory. You do not sound concerned. You sound pissed off.
I'm not. I am troubled. Maybe that's the better word. Troubled.
Exactly. Different voice from the little
Because
squeaks
these
in court.
things, like you being with Chad before he's even divorced,
Yeah.
is unusual behavior for a person that's seen Jesus Christ.
I was with him and he was never divorced.
Honey, I've seen you
That's
guys
your
together.
story. That's
She's like, I was never with him and he was never divorced. I know, because his wife was murdered.
So I haven't ever seen you with, I've never seen you with Chad kiss him and walk around the track at BYU with him. I never saw that. You said
Gaslighting.
just feeling guilty about being with someone before they were divorced.
Oh, honey. I think that's not what we're talking about here.
Wait, it's not what we're talking about here. That's what I'm saying. You are going off the deep end.
Well, I'm just saying this is not a behavior of someone that sees Jesus Christ. It's not the behavior.
Really? Have you ever seen Jesus Christ? So do you know what the future behavior would be if you had seen Jesus Christ?
I know that when I pray.
Lord asks me to do every day, and he does protect me, and he is protecting me, and he will protect me against this accusation as well. And we will both stand there with him, and you tell me if I was lying or not. But we're both standing there with Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And then the phone cut off. She said it probably cut off because she was in the basement. And I'm like, what? I think Lori put the phone down. And that's where it ends. Can you believe that? Like, remember Lori at her arraignment, that tiny little voice she had, like, yes, yes. But here she's like, let me tell you something. Like, oh, my word. And then the last thing is sweet, peachy sweater Melanie. And this was actually the first thing I saw because I started at what's most recent, right? And this is why I'm like, she's a nice lady. But then I started going and looking at all the things and I'm like, oh, I see you guys' point. So look at this quickly. I won't show you all of it, but just this little bit.
And you've been hard to find.
Sweet.
I know.
Would it be fair to say that you've been in hiding?
Yes.
Nate Eaton.
Why?
When you realize that the people that you know and you're close to and love have been involved in something that has to do with kidnapping and people dying.
Murder, not people dying.
You start to think, oh my gosh, are they going to come
Allegedly.
after me? Like, everything closes in, and
Really?
you start to think about your own safety, and you start to think about what really happened, and could this really be true? I had all kinds of fears, what the media would say about me. If they would say it the way I want to.
See? You see? It's different to what we saw in those police interrogations. Like, I don't give a crap about what the media says about me. I don't pay attention to gossip, my cop buddies. But here she's like, I was really worried about what the media is going to say about me.
Say it like I'm saying it now. I wasn't ready.
So why are you ready
I
today?
know.
Because I faced all the fears, and then I decided that the truth was more important than what I wanted. And I needed to do it for those that have passed on.
They were murdered.
That justice may be served. I think it's fair to Charles and JJ and Tammy and Tylee that they're...
I find it interesting. It's Charles. Wait, the order she said it in. Charles and Tammy. Charles and JJ, Tammy and Tylee. You know?
Someone is standing up for what happened to them. And I care. I do care for them. And I care for the families that are involved.
And is that your goal in talking today?
My goal is to speak to the things that have gone on, and also to speak to many that believe their story of some of the things we're going to talk about zombies, to being a part of the 144,000, to multiple probations. These things do need to be discussed to those that...
You're like, but she is sweet. She's a nice lady. That's what I thought. But then you got to see all the things so that you can be like, oh, she knows a lot more. This is like the sweetest ever that she's ever been. Okay, one last thing, which is very exciting before I go. It's not 2 in the morning. I thought it's 2, but it's 1:17 a.m. But I don't want to make it too long, especially for replay watchers. We want them to be able to deep dive with us. Everybody, it's map time. All right, it's a quick map time, everybody. I didn't ever get to do map time yet because we've been deep diving so much. Okay, wait, I know I'm tiny over here in the corner. Like, whoa. So this would be, oh, my bad. Wait. We don't want to go out of it. We want to go into it. Oh, man, I ruined it. We're flying to it. Chad Daybell's property. I don't have a video from Mr. Grizzly for this one either because I've been so busy deep diving the case. He needs details, you know. I can't just say fly over. Just fly over this quickly. It doesn't work like that. He's also a deep diver type, you know. He's got to like take off. He's got to do the climb. He's got to do the cruise and like really plan it all. So I can't just say quickly get on a flight. But yes, this was the property. Let's just make this face north for goodness sake. Otherwise we don't know what's going on. So remember, we saw pictures of this property and we make it 3D. Idaho. Rexburg, Idaho, where they thought the 144,000 would settle. So, yes. I should pull up those pictures, actually. Where is it? I'll do it quickly. Wait. That's not it. Yes, there. There's the pictures of the property. See? So, Tylee, her remains were found in the pet cemetery. She had been dismembered and charred. My word. And JJ was buried near the duck pond, which is what I was describing before. And that's what I'm going to show you now quickly. So I believe that pet cemetery, was it around here? I think it was around here. I can't see it right now. But I think it was like around here. There was a dog and a cat buried there too. Not from the same time frame. And I believe this is the duck pond. Am I correct? Because that's what I've read and seen on videos that they were looking over here. It was just in the picture that I showed you. It was kind of dryish. Wait. Should see? Yeah, I was talking about that indentation at the back, right? So that is where they found JJ's remains. And what led them to this property where Chad was living here with his wife. I don't know how many of the kids. They had 5 kids together. So I don't know how many were still living at the house. But at the time where Alex's phone pinged in this yard, Chad had also sent a weird text to his wife on the day that Tylee was buried about shooting a raccoon in the backyard and burying that raccoon in the pet cemetery. That's a pond. I thought it was compost pit. I don't know. Someone in the live stream said duck pond, but it's around this area where I saw they were digging in some of those photos. Let's see it again. I mean, I've looked at a lot of this footage and I'm just like, oh, sorry. So yeah, I think it's like at the back there is where JJ's remains were found. And sadly, trigger warning again, his body was wrapped in garbage bags and he had duct tape all around his arms as if it was like tied together. And he had a white plastic bag over his head. And he was buried under rocks and plywood and soil. Oh, just absolutely horrendous. I mean, Tylee, they don't know what happened to her because she was dismembered and burnt. I mean, that's just... You do not want to be a fly on that wall. There is something about an irrigation ditch running past Chad's property. Maybe Chad having disagreements with the ditch rider. Interesting. Interesting. Map song is 1000 volts. Why are we telling people what the map song is? So what you want to know? What the map song is? There's a pond. Yeah. Okay, so let's see if can we even put the little man here? Listen, what are you doing, little man? Can you go here? Ooh, okay. Little man, we're going down. Okay, looking around the property. I saw that Colby, Lori's biological son, he was like standing along this like fence line. So blurry, my word, Google. What is your problem? Google's like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this property. He was like standing along the fence. There were flowers put down and things, and he was paying tribute to them as well. It's so scary, oh my word. The causes of death are not known. Not Tylee's, not known. And they assume that JJ died of asphyxiation. Yes. A gravedigger would know. So for anyone who didn't watch part 1 and 2, one of Chad Daybell's jobs was being a cemetery sexton. He was a professional gravedigger. It wasn't a very professional job they did, though. You know, it was probably done in a rush here with these graves and things. Anyway, can we go in here? No, we cannot go in here. But that's what it looks like. Damn, it's like 2019. Look at that. 2020 now. Sure. So scary. Thank you so much, Brenda. Yeah, a lot of people speculate that maybe Alex was the one to kill them. And I mean, Melanie, as we saw, said the murderers were living down the street, and she was referring to Alex and Zulema. So that's interesting. So yeah, this is the property. I didn't do like a full map time of everywhere that Lori had lived and where they were, but this was where Chad's property was. His children do not believe he's guilty because they say he wouldn't have been dumb enough to bury them on his property. But yeah, he's facing the death sentence, so I think he actually would be. But you let me know what you think. Alex was there helping. I mean, yeah, Alex probably buried them. I hear what you're saying. But Chad sent a text to his wife on September 9th talking about burying a raccoon in the pet cemetery and burning tree limbs. Meanwhile, in hindsight, it was Tylee's remains that were being burnt. And yeah, her remains were found in the pet cemetery. So he was definitely there. Chad was definitely there. So scary. Alex sure seemed to be the duty angel of death for this crowd. I know, right? Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that deep dive on what on earth, who's Melanie, the friend, what did she say, what did she know? I hope you learned a little something along the way. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. Let's put this off. Wait, this one. Yes, so we're back in court. Okay. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Peter Pranzo. Burning limbs. Oh my goodness. Did he say burning limbs in his text? Just burning limbs. Ooh. I thought he said burning tree limbs, but burning limbs. Oh my word. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, mods. I know this was again overtime, every time, as it always is. Thank you to the mods. I appreciate all of you. If you have just been watching and not yet hit the thumbs up, please do that. The reason for that, I know that all YouTubers are like, please, you know what annoys me? I wanted a YouTube channel for the longest time, but it's always like, that thing that YouTubers do, like just hit it below. It's annoying, right? However, you really do have to do the thumbs up if you want to support the channel, because it lets YouTube know, which is very much algorithm and software based of like, oh, people like this video. Maybe we should show it to more people. See? So if you hit the thumbs up, okay, and share. So if you push the share button, you could share this on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. You could share it with your friends on WhatsApp. You could share on Reddit. We have a Reddit community as well. Share it every which way. I'll see you on Twitter. That's generally where I retweet what you tweet, especially if you tag me. So please share it. Or you can also use that cool clip feature, which I see not all channels have that. I find it weird. I don't know which channels have it and which don't, but my channel's got it. So I hope you can use it. Just use that little clip feature and share a little clip of this episode if you want. Thank you, Lindsay Maglin, for your $3 super sticker. Thank you so much, everyone who sent some super stickers my way today. It definitely is very encouraging along the way while I'm doing these live streams. I mean, look, it's a 2.5-hour live stream, but yet it was probably if I had to estimate 26 hours of work to do a 2.5-hour live stream, I would say that's about the ratio. Heard Stephanie Harlow also said, it's like 70 hours of work per episode that she does. Makes sense. So yes, thank you everyone for being here, for supporting. Please leave a comment below, and I will also go and pin all these episodes in the comments right after this, so that you can go and find them and watch them yourself if you want to. I would recommend 1.5 speed if it's like really long. I don't listen to it always on that, but sometimes I'm like, oh my word, they're just like, there's so many pauses and there's so much time in between that you're like, go, go, go. So yes, thank you. I will see you guys very soon again. Be sure to set your reminder for the next one. Of course, we're looking at many cases, not just this one. We look at so many cases on this channel, sometimes simultaneously like now. So we will be looking at updates in other cases. I'll let you know. Plan to rest tomorrow, but you never know if there's breaking news. If there is, you'll see me here again. Thank you for being here. And thank you. Yes, get some rest. Always travel in light, one and all. Funny questionnaires. Yep. Oh, wait. Thank you. You talked about the questionnaire. One more. We just got to quickly do that poll. How much you know about Melanie Gibb? Let's just see what you guys said. The winning answer was seen all the interviews, 32%. But it was pretty evenly split, huh? 31%, very little. I hope now you know. Do you? Do you now know who Melanie Gibb is? Seen snippets about it? No, you've seen a lot of snippets. And who's Melanie Gibb? 11%. So thank you so much. YouTube only gives me 4 options anyway for the polls. I like 2. Yes or no. But 4 answers are always available there for you. I will see you very soon again. Let's play the outro. I'm first going to play that other little thing that I made for you and then the outro, okay? So hold on. Just put myself like this. I'm going to play this one. And now we make the switch.